Oloram Baljate Thur Nervore. Welcome to season 2 episode. I've lost count at the moment because
Eight.
Zelenamore hosts for us.
Episode 8.
Welcome to episode 8 apparently of our podcast and like season episode 3 or 4 of Mando's After Dark. And we welcome you all. So today's topic is going to be home brewing and self-defense. See what I did there? You want to know how to self-defense when you get drunk.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I mean, hey, that's usually when you're going to need it the most.
I mean, I've being a former security officer, I've dealt with the drunken idiots.
See, the key is if you're both, you're gonna be stumbling too much, so you don't have to defend yourself because they're gonna keep messing when I swing at you.
It's the drunken defense.
Drunken kung fu.
Yes. And we do have a wee bit of a lesson today for language. It's more titles and roles. Thank you, Shannon, for posting these. So we've got assassin or killer, which is Kir Amud. Kir Amud, spelled Kyramud. Kir Amud. We've got guardian / protector, which is Kabur. Cabur, which you'll see a lot of that in the Discord. A lot of us have chosen the Kabur name, or at least a part of our name. Like I've got Kadale Kabur, which is casualty protector. I decided to go from illegal combatant to casualty protector. It seems a little bit more fitting. We've got artist or painter, which is Salad. SAL apostrophe or Betten, AD, Salad. We've got sailor, Senad, SEN, Betten, AD, Senad. We've got bodyguard, which is Vergeborir. Sometimes the mouth does not like pronouncing what I'm trying to read because I'm trying to read these by the pronunciation and it just does not want to work sometimes.
Vergeborir.
Buir.
Buir.
How I'm.
Yeah.
We got bu and ear. So Vergebuir. It's really hard trying to say them fast though, because it's not going to be Vergebuir. It's going to be Vergebuir.
Yeah, the only one that feels.
And that happens to be spelled VER, Betten, GEBUIR, which where we get that buir. And we've got mercenary, which is Verdverd, VER, Betten, VERD, Verdverd. We've got private, like the rank private, not your genitalia area. Which honestly could probably be classified as both. Let's just be honest there. Which is Verdica. Verdica.
I believe you skipped 7.
Yes, I did. My bad. I'll go back to that in a second. So private, the word is spelled VERD, Betten, IKA, Verdica. And then we've got going back up because I decided to go dyslexic and misread the numbers. We've got soldier or warrior, which is Verd, VERD, and is pronounced VAIRD. Instead of Verd, it's Verd. And then we've got... Okay, so going back to the private / Verdica, the rank can be used affectionately, often to a child, literally little soldier. Context is going to be critical for how you use this. You're not going to go up to a private Zelenamore and say, "Come here, little soldier." You're addressing by rank on that one versus calling someone a little soldier. So then we've got a bandit, villain, or a petty theft, Gehutun, GE Betten, HUTUUN, Gehutun, can also mean a serious criminal you have no respect for. Or we have blacksmith or metalworker, which is Goran, Goran, Goran. which we have several in the Discord who have taken part of the Goron to be part of their name. I really wish the puppies would stop trying to fight over the other one's food at the moment. That's... Y'all done over there? Alright, can I continue? Thank you. So that's our language lesson for today. And if you want to say fur baby, I found this one is kutika. K-U-T Benton I-K-A. Kutika. Literally it takes furry animal and baby, or little one. Little fur is what it literally translates to.
Okay.
So I've taken that to fur baby, your pets.
Yeah, because before the podcast we were talking about what would be like good dog, and that would be Jate Yam Kaded.
Yep. I've taken to say Jate Kutika.
Mm-hmm. That would work too.
And I might have to take a break here in a second because got a nice little nosebleed trying to start itself on me here. That ought to be fun. I don't know why it's doing that, but the last month, either because of the extreme heat or the rapid cool down, it's been doing that to me. It's been drying my nose out.
Yeah, the barometric pressure would do that.
Yeah. So if y'all want to go ahead and start talking about that self-defense, I will be back in about, hopefully no more than 5 minutes.
Alrighty. Take your time.
Just stick a wad of toilet paper up your nose. Usually works good.
It's usually my deal. Either that or just tilt my head back and let it drain in.
Ugh. Can never do the taste of blood on that one.
I'm weird. I know.
Fair enough.
But so self-defense. I guess we could start off with how does one define self-defense, and what actions are appropriate when having to defend oneself, because you're not going to go straight for your trachea for a small little incident. Knowing yourself, and this goes into which one is it? Tenet number I want to say 6. Nope, I can't read that. I want to say it's tenet number 6 of train your body and mind. Yeah, tenet number 6. To always train your body and your mind, so that should you be in a situation where you have to act, because we do not seek violence, but the world is chaotic. So the thing is and I said this earlier before the podcast, is would you rather be a warrior in a garden, and this is an old samurai proverb, kind of, if I'm saying that right, of would you rather, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a battlefield. So by training one's body and mind, you're able to make sure and understand your limits. By training the mind, you also train not just your intelligence and whatever life throws at you, but train when it comes to self-defense with the idea of what happens if. What happens if this happens? What happens if this happens? What happens if I'm going up against this? And then from that, you determine the appropriate force. because in our society, there is a such thing as overprotection or overkill, basically, where it goes from you're no longer defending yourself, and now you've kind of crossed that line into where you now become the aggressor. And knowing that line of where that is important in self-defense entirely. A main thing is if your aggressor, if the person that's attacking you or trying to do harm to you or whatever you're trying to defend against, if they are retreating, I wouldn't necessarily say don't stand down, but do not necessarily pursue depending on the situation. If it looks like the person has basically surrendered, given up, and is running away, do not pursue. Make sure you are safe and those around you that cannot defend themselves are safe as well. And then take the proper steps of calling the authorities so that you protect yourself, legally speaking, because depending on the outcome, if the person gets away, sad to say, whoever makes the call first is usually the one that's seen as the innocent individual. So if you ever have an incident where you have to defend yourself, once it is over, make the call to the authority, to police, as soon as possible. As soon as you can, make that call. I cannot stress that enough, because that will protect you 9 times out of 10 from legal repercussions.
Or just use sufficient firepower.
That's what I said. Depending on the outcome, you still call the police. Should the threat be neutralized in the highest of manner, definitely call the police. Do not specify that the threat has been neutralized to the extreme, just that the threat has been neutralized, and you need police and an ambulance. And then call a lawyer. And
which is why I would stress to get the concealed carry insurance thing, or just a specific specific help from a company that specializes in legal matters relating to firearms related issues. There's firearms legal defense, and then there's the concealed carry insurance stuff. They're different things from my understanding. Mm-hmm. So do your research and figure out what best one suits you. They're not all available in all states because of the fact that there's certain states that are of the deep sea blue variety that don't really care about human rights. So,
Mm-hmm. The main thing, because it's not just trashiers to defend against, of course. We've got calls as well, and that's, I'll be honest, as far as across the board for the US, I don't know of any state that outright bans the carrying of calls.
Let's find out. Let's do a search.
I know that the states that are strict on calls have it to where you cannot carry more than so many inches. And then there are states like mine, Texas here, where I could carry a sword on me and be like, da-da-da-da-da. PD stopped me. He goes, what's going on? Just walking down the road. Why are you carrying a sword?
So apparently New Mexico law states that it is illegal for concealed carry of specific calls or cutting instruments outside of one's home. Some of the prohibited ones include butcher and dirk, daggers, bowie, as well as switchblades.
A key word for that would be concealed.
That would be correct. So if you have it inside your pocket, you
Mhm.
are concealed carry. If you have it
If it is,
side out of the pocket, you should be safe.
if your call is hidden in any way, shape, or form, it is considered concealed per the law. However, if you have it in a sheath on your belt out in the open, that, per what you just read, does not classify as concealed. That is the same equivalence as a trachea on openly on your hip in a holster.
Yep. If it
Now,
can be seen, you're not concealed.
Once again, everything we say here is not professional legal advice. Always talk to a lawyer when seeking information for this. I am just going based off of my knowledge from what I have talked to of lawyers in regards to these topics. I am not a lawyer. I am not a professional legal advice giver. I am just giving my thoughts and opinions.
Move this camera around a little bit. But yes, I 100% agree with that. We are not giving you any legal advice here. We're just merely reading stuff off the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think that just because you heard Cadis and Zelda Namore, no, we are not your legal defense.
I have no legal authority
we will say
whatsoever.
that every podcast as a disclaimer if we have to. We are not your legal defense. I don't want to be called up by a New Mexican lawyer saying, hey, well, you said the person could do that. I was like, go back and listen to our podcast. We disclaimed this.
This is how we interpreted it, and based off of my experience, that is how
That is how
it comes off.
The fact that they're going to have to deal with more times than not, they'll have to deal with the criminal aspect in court and the civil because of the family. Oftentimes they're going to sue you because they want money, so.
Mm-hmm.
And their children can do no wrong is typically how they see it.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, my son didn't do that. You instigated it.
One thing I do have to specify. One thing I do have to specify when it comes to everything that we talk about right here is we are mainly talking about U.S. law, because I do not know international laws of Canada, UK, Russia, Germany, wherever you listeners are coming from. We are coming from the knowledge of American law. Because I say that
barely working knowledge as well.
I'd say I'm a little bit above average.
I am below the average. I do not look up law. Ignorance of the law
does not excuse your crime. The reason I say that is because Voldurge put in the chat to look up Canadian laws concerning calls and how it is messy.
I bet it is.
I'm sure it is.
Just like it can be messy here.
Mm-hmm. Because there are several ways to defend yourself of, first and foremost, something that I'm disclaimer right now, not being political in any way, shape, or form. I respect our police officers highly. However, I say this as one of the first things as a former private security officer that I learned is what's called verbal judo, and how to de-escalate a situation with your words before having to go hands-on or using any of your equipment. I cannot stress it enough how viable and how encouraged it is to try to use your words and to use verbal judo to de-escalate, calm the situation down, and come to a more civilized manner of what's going on, why is this happening, can we resolve this in another way other than, fighting. Obviously that's not always going to be the case. That's why it's situation by situation. Sometimes you can start off with verbal judo. Other times you may have to use your trashir because it's just to that point and there's no choice. However, I know that some states are okay with carrying items such as collapsible batons, pepper spray, tasers. I personally, while I do wish to carry a trashir once I get one again, I will carry it as much as I can, seeing as we are now in open carry constitutional state. I can do that.
Welcome to the constitutional group.
I
would live and work in 2 of those.
Because I believe we've been that way for about 2 years now.
What state are you in again?
Texas.
That doesn't surprise me then.
Mm-hmm.
So, on the topic of the calls, I just happened to be looking up, it's worldpopulation-review.com/state-rankings/laws-by-state for anyone who wants to look this up. I'm giving you the direct website. And this will list the laws by state. And I'll go ahead and switch to screen share instead of camera, so you guys can see this. Oh, well, apparently it's going to allow me to keep the camera on, too.
Mm-hmm.
So, just looking up for me, because I live in the state of Tennessee, you've got statewide preemption, restricted knives, concealed carries, schools. These are the like where it's allowed or what's allowed.
Mm-hmm.
Then schools, you got major cities with knife ordinances, critical dimensions, and that's it. So for the state of Tennessee, required age for possession, none. Statewide preemption, yes. Restricted knives, none. Concealed carry, allowed. Schools, not allowed on school property. Major cities with knife ordinances, we have none. Critical dimensions, we have none. Now, just happens to be right below it is Texas.
I feel as though
Required age for possession. 5.5-inch blade maximum under specific conditions of locations.
I believe some of that may need to be
Updated.
because I know Texas law basically does state that you can carry, aside from specific locations, you can carry any size blade.
I think this is talking about like going from 17 to 18. It's talking about age requirement for that, not actually is it allowed where.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mainly say that because of the restricted knives. Oh, related to minors. Okay, so
Yeah,
these are specifically minors. Okay, now I understand it.
So then we got statewide preemption, yes. Restricted is anything longer than 5.5 where relating to minors.
Mm-hmm.
Concealed carry is allowed. Schools, not allowed on any premises related to educational institutions with exceptions.
Usually those are like trade
it doesn't
schools.
actually say what the exceptions are. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm pretty sure those exceptions are like trade schools where a knife is used for the what you're working on.
I will agree with that. Most times they'll provide some kind of safety cutter, but how many times you see someone just pull a pocket knife out of their pocket and just cut it instead? I do it all the time at work, and weapons aren't allowed there. So
I'm allowed my calls. I'm allowed.
yeah, they usually don't say anything about it as long as management doesn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
But technically, I don't think I'm supposed to have them. But getting back to the topic on hand, major cities with knife ordinances, Texas has none. Critical dimensions, 5.5-inch blade has restrictions depending on location, and I think that has more to do with age than the actual location.
No, because I'm pretty sure bars and clubs aren't allowed as well.
That would be the same for, I think, just about anywhere, to be honest.
Yeah, the whole 51% laws are pretty much nationwide.
I'm going to scroll up to Mississippi just because I worked down there.
I believe that's a ATF ruling for the whole 51%, right?
Yeah, I think that is that regarding alcohol.
Yeah, if your profits are 51% or more,
yeah, I'm
based
pretty
on
sure
because of alcohol. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me if it's the alphabet boy on that one.
Mm-hmm.
So, for Mississippi, now I don't know if these have changed or not. Just going based off of what I'm reading here, you have to be 18 for possession of a knife in Mississippi. Is there a statewide preemption? Yes. Now, I need to look up preemption because I'm not exactly sure what that means in these cases.
Give me 1 second and I will look into that.
All right. Moving on to any restricted, there's literally nothing there, so I'm going to make the assumption that means no restrictions on knives in the state of Mississippi. Concealed carry allowed with restrictions on the type of knives, so that might be in the major or the last column on that part.
Okay.
Not allowed on any school grounds in Mississippi. Go ahead.
So preemptions are basically state prevents local authorities from passing laws that differ from or are stricter than the state law.
Gotcha. Okay.
So basically,
so the county, the city cannot supersede the state.
Exactly.
Chaos Crow, I'm on worldpopulationreview.com /state-rankings/knife-laws-by-state is the specific link that I'm on. Instead of just giving you that worldpopulationreview.com, I figured might get you closer if I actually give you the full link. And then moving on, major cities with knife ordinances, none in Mississippi. Yeah, I can put it in chat. Just give me just a second. Yep.
Basically, if he's reading off from the list here of all the things you can't do, and you live in that state, and there's a lot of things you can't do, probably best to leave that state.
Let's see, you're in Minnesota, right?
Oh, I'm at one of the worst ones, I guarantee you.
Minnesota, right?
Yep.
No restriction for age. No statewide preemptions. That means they can and will make stricter laws depending on where you're at.
Especially in the Twin Cities, yep.
No restricted knives. You can conceal carry unless it's a switchblade. Again, no big surprise, not allowed on school grounds. Major cities with ordinances, Duluth, Minneapolis, and St. Paul. And critical dimensions, none.
But that's per state law now. Of course, city laws are different.
Again,
there are a lot of laws that have recently been passed. I know that we're kind of focusing on like carry and everything, but the purchase of said items are also important. Mm-hmm. And they have just recently passed stuff saying that private sales are basically banned. You can't have there's no such thing as a private sale in the state of Minnesota anymore as of August 1st. August 1st, yep.
Good luck trying to prove that.
I mean, that is the kicker, but if somebody else has the firearm in question, and it was like a gifted or what else have you, and I should back up here. If it's somebody outside of your immediate residence, I believe, so if it's not within your immediate family, you cannot do a private transfer of any sort. So if it's like friends that you know well, you actually have to go to an FFL. That's what they've said. Now, that being said, they can technically enforce it because we already know that the federal agencies already have a national registry. That's what the Form 4473s. They have a digital
national registry of who owns what kind of knife.
Yes. Well, no, guns. I'm specifically talking about.
Oh,
guns.
Yeah, we're talking about calls right now, though.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Nope, you're good.
No,
we'll get to trashiers. We'll get to trashiers. Don't.
Yeah, but knives are pretty common around here. It pisses me off, but they say it's a hunter-friendly state. So yeah, knives are pretty okay here for the most part. Especially if you're in Minneapolis and you get stabbed by one, they're pretty okay with it. So
I'm actually gonna scroll up. I want to see what Californians are like.
Really strict.
I just looked up for the Michigan one from the legislative section 750.226. Says a person shall not, with intent to use the same unlawfully against the person of another, go armed with a pistol, other firearm, pneumatic gun, dagger, dirk, razor, stiletto, knife, or having a blade over 3 inches in length, or any other dangerous deadly weapon instrument. But it says down below it on another part, Michigan knife laws state carrying a knife with a blade longer than 3 inches illegal if you're intending to use it unlawfully or harm others. Technically, this means you can carry any length if you don't have the intentions of shanking somebody.
see, the intention part is super critical because your prosecutors, depending on and this is nationwide, if they can try to make a jury or a judge feel as though you had intention, even if you didn't, they'll still hit you with the book. Let's say that you went out there in public with a knife, and they do this for gun owners too. A lot of times they'll try to book you on intent to do harm or whatever their specific legal term is for the charge. Because you were out in public in the first place. They don't deem the access to public a lot in the eyes of a prosecutor, as far as I've seen, as kind of a right. They just say, well, you were there, why were you there in the first place? They're always going to ask the question, why were you there in the first place? And oftentimes you can give a pretty decent, reasonable answer, be like, I was shopping. Where the fuck else am I going to be shopping? It certainly is going to be in public. So, if you give a reasonable response to as what your purpose was for being there, you can throw that out of the water 9 times out of the 10, or your defensive lawyer will be able to. But they're really scummy. They're really fucking scummy about it, and they'll try to make the argument that either A, because you were physically there, it's your fault, which is what people typically refer to as victim shaming, but they love doing it. And so it's a whole fucking mess. It's probably a good thing that we're covering this for as many states as humanly possible, because you have to understand, even under the color of law, they're going to try to do anything they want to you in the court. And especially if you are in states like California, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Illinois especially, if you aren't the assailant, you're probably going to get hit by criminal charges more than likely, and then the civil charges will come later. So, because to my understanding, I'm willing to be wrong about this, when it comes to criminal court, they have to prove without a reasonable doubt. With civil court, it doesn't have to be that much scrutiny at all. They can just say, oh, well, we think so.
The thing that I always point out is all you need really is one jury member to be on your side.
Yeah, but then we get in the conversation, I think, of jury nullification, and that's a whole different beast. I don't really know how much one person affects the stand, because I also feel like there's probably going to be enough people on that panel that just want to fucking go home. They don't actually care about you.
Mm-hmm.
And it is emotional, like 100%. They will play the emotional card all day long. Prosecutor doesn't have to stick to the facts, like, period. It's the defense's job to stick to the facts. It's extremely one-sided. Prosecution, to my understanding, again, willing to be wrong about this, is allowed to try to tell a story. And that's what is going to fucking get you.
The prosecutor is trying to spin a tale that paints you as the bad guy. If they feel as though they have the evidence to say that you were in the wrong, they're going to do so.
Yep.
I've been on a grand jury before. I've served on a grand jury where we had to decide whether or not cases went to court or not. We had very few cases where we were like, no. But a lot of them, and for the group that I was, surprised the hell out of the prosecutors that came to visit us for the cases because of how efficiently we were. We looked at the evidence and everything and would determine yay or nay. But this is for like felony level charges. In the state of in the state of Texas, felony level charges always have to go before a grand jury before they go to actual trial.
See, that's interesting. I think I need to look up if my state requires that too. And I'm wondering if there is sufficient enough states that require that. And I'm willing to bet specific states I've listed previously probably don't do that.
Now, as I said, the purpose of the grand jury is to put it in the people's hands of, does this deserve to be brought before a judge and jury in an actual trial? Because there were some charges there that the person was still, at home, at work, whatever the case may be, but because we voted, yeah, there's enough here to go to trial, they ended up getting a warrant for their arrest. And as far as what happened from those trials, I have no idea.
Right.
This was probably about 2 years ago that I did this. But for the state of Texas, it is put in the people's hands. So the prosecutor has to basically, in those situations, has to convince the grand jury that, yeah, this person did wrong and this is our evidence. If the grand jury, if my group found any reason this person should not be charged, i.e. the stop is invalid, like it wasn't a valid stop for whatever that led to the arrest or charge of the person, we have the say to be like, no, this isn't going to trial. But it's things like that, or we'll sit there and be like, is there enough? Basically, if we determined that there was enough plausible deniability, in a sense, that it's like, was this really his doing? Or is there more to this that needs to be found out before we allow it to go to trial, kind of thing?
Further evidence is needed. What the hell are you guys doing, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Basically, it's like, we look at it, it's like, if we can find holes in this charge and the story and everything, we deny it, and then they basically have to go back and base it, and
they have to answer the questions and bring it back up again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the charges aren't officially dropped because there was no charges placed yet?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So until it is completely dropped by the DAs, it can't be approved unless the grand jury approves it.
Right.
But the DAs can sit there and be like, okay, well, we'll just see if we can't get more evidence to prove that this happens, or it's like, you know what, the grand jury's right, dropping this case.
Right.
Yeah,
but as far as like knives specifically are concerned, I feel like using a knife, again, make sure you do your research on your knife laws and the type of knives you can use. Self-defense knives, there's a lot of methodology within it. There's a lot of ideology within it, and so everybody's going to have a different knife that they think fits their purpose. If you're in an urban area, you're probably going to actually want to go with something smaller and quicker to deploy. And as a result, like, you have plenty of options. You have your short, like, typical utility work knives, your flip blades, all that stuff. If your state allows switchblades, but I'm pretty sure that might even be a federal thing. I know.
Based off of the list I was seeing, there were only a few that didn't allow the switchblades.
Okay.
I mean, even if they did, it was like a max of 2-inch.
But yeah, and it's really weird because it depends on how people see an assault with a knife and a defensive issue with a knife, and it's going to come down to your locale. It's a lot more intimate of a situation when it comes to a knife situation versus a gun situation, I feel. Just because you're up close and personal and within that 21 feet rule, which is why, you know, you don't bring a knife to a gunfight. So, like, if you're absolutely able to, please don't use that as a backup and a utilitarian tool. Don't if you can, don't carry the knife. Don't trust it.
Now, I personally think a call is okay to be carried in order to comply with the tenets.
Correct.
I can agree that a coup baton, if your state allows it, basically a collapsible baton or defensive baton, form of non-lethal.
Right.
Not one of those collapsible bow staffs.
No, those are trash. Those are decorative. Those are a good magic trick.
That's a gimmick.
Yeah, that's a magic trick.
It's a gimmick.
No.
Wait, what about my concealed carry spear? I can't carry that.
If your state allows you to carry that, by all means.
I just can't have a rapier just running around.
Switchblades.
Yeah, you can come off mute.
Yeah, let's go right ahead. You might need to change your settings to push to talk, but yeah, we welcome anyone who wants to talk.
I'm just a common problem, so go ahead.
That's only when we give you fire.
Yes, remember, keep fire away from Arhutun.
So speaking of to carry or not to carry, I've got this nice little one that I usually just keep around the apartment.
One thing that I would like to put in here, when your aggressor has a knife, if they already have it out and this comes up with like, well, why does the officer pull the gun on him? It's just a knife. Why not use the taser? Depending on the distance between that officer and that person with the blade, the blade can do so much damage.
Yep.
That I have pictures that show why it is that I myself, if I can, will draw a tertiary against someone wielding a call without a second thought.
There's a reason why most concealed carry trainers that actually are worth their salt do explain the 21-foot rule, because a person with a knife can gain access to you in that 21 feet distance in a few seconds fucking flat. Maybe
I think it's like 3-4 seconds.
Yep, you have that much time to draw something, whatever you're using, to defend yourself. And all they need to do is get up to you within arm's length, because in this sense, the knife is an extension of your arm. If you're thinking about, your sword play, what else have you, those blades are an extension of your arm to reach out and touch something violently. So just keep that in mind. That's why people pull the gun, because they need to use deadly force in fear of their life, yada, yada, yada.
I think it's another thing to keep in mind is when you're defending or attacking or just in combat with a knife, you are going to get cut. Which means
100%. You need to get that thought out of their head that you're going to get out of there unscathed. You're going to get cut.
Oh yeah, no knife fight. No one comes out of a knife fight uncut. Nobody.
Even if you're wearing armor, expect to get a cut.
I mean, that's why I encourage to have cut blade resistant armor for such things. A stab proof vest, or a vest that's rated to
because they
prevent
won't go for your limbs, really. They'll go for center mass more often than not, is what I've been told.
That being said,
I got a few scars from a few encounters. I have a couple scars from a few encounters.
I actually have. My knuckle here ended up getting chopped from a blade incident.
And the most I've got is I circumcised the tip of my finger. This one in particular, you really can't see it, but I was chopping some food and my knife went.
Yeah, my Rador did that a couple weeks ago too.
Did not feel good. Did not.
Personally, when it comes to defense with a blade, I personally prefer straight blades, full tang knife calls. Just because in regards to switch blades or flip knives, there's always the risk that the locking mechanism fails and that blade comes back on your fingers.
And you will get junk on in the working mechanisms as well, which will cause it to fail eventually. Fixed blades. I mean, you're still going to get the junk inside of it, but it's not like the blades can be going anywhere.
I will also say, if you actually go out and get training for, dealing with knife play, you're for one, go and seek some instructor. Look on YouTube is your best ally. Get a practice blade that fits the profile of what you plan on using, because that's you need to learn how those things function. Every blade profile has a different
orientation.
Yes, like your karambits, those are really fast. They're meant to. You're meant to grapple with somebody. You're meant to wrestle with someone over it, but you're meant to make really quick motions to tear things open with those knives. So go online, check them out, clinch picks, check them out, figure out what's actually going to be easier for you to use. And also, your knife fight is, you don't want shit to end up on the ground, but if they do end up on the ground, make sure you're not the one on the bottom.
Speaking of the practice profile knives, gonna plug in the Armorers Guild here, because we are actually working, and I've actually printed a few. They didn't come out any good, but it's a work in progress. I know, for example, give me a second, I'll get their name, because someone is working on wooden profile knives.
Basically,
for practice reasons.
Balkans.
I would also take it even a step further, kind of like how people practice dry fire and everything at home with firearms. If you're going to be carrying a knife, take it out and fucking play with the practice one when you have free time and you're staying at home doing nothing. Take it out, start flinging it around, especially karambits. I just know that one from personal experience because those are ones that I do like to carry. They're quick, they're fast, they go for the jugular kind of thing. So
if you have the money, get a training dummy to practice with.
Yep, absolutely.
You can actually make a good training dummy just out of some old clothes and some duct tape, and restuffing it with other old clothes.
I just put soap in a sock and call it a day.
I can agree with that. Kali Eskrima or Filipino stick fighting is very useful as well. Yes, I can agree.
It's a good technique that you can actually learn by watching a lot of videos with a good partner.
Mm-hmm.
So,
talking about getting into like the stick fighting and whatnot, hand-to-hand fighting, there are a few styles that are really good to learn. Everything I'm about to say is a personal opinion. I'm pretty sure everyone here has their own thoughts on what styles are best. For me, the styles I am wanting to learn is true Krav Maga, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Aikido. You got Krav...
I found the guild member's name that I was looking for. It's Leonard Todd that we'll be looking for. If you want to go on the guild page, you want to get in contact with Leonard Todd. He's one of our bladesmiths. And I'm not saying he's the only one. He's just one that came to mind because I know he makes the wooden profile ones.
See, the fact that we're talking about these topics just tells me that Americans should never have gotten rid of dueling as a social practice.
Funny you say that. In some cases, trial by combat is still illegal. It is still allowed.
Mutual combat is typically seen in the legal sphere. Mutual combat is typically seen as a fist fight. The rest of it is like sporting endeavors, like MMA and all that shit. So I've only really seen fist fights be counted as mutual combat in the legal sphere. So
I have actually had in my security job, I have actually had one situation where it was mutual combat, and I just stood there. I was like, "You guys do this. I'm not stepping in because you're getting your ass kicked. I will step in before someone kicks the bucket, but I will not step in and arrest."
It definitely goes too far. Like I don't want people obviously to like get killed on the regular. I feel like though if everybody's rolling up their sleeves, that is physical confirmation that they're both ready to get down into it. And I just say step back and let them fucking do it. Like there's a point where diplomacy does no longer work between individuals or groups entirely, and you have to resort to violence. That being said, there's a time and a place that's appropriate.
My main thing,
you do not want collateral that makes you the asshole.
My main thing when it came to that is I told them the only thing I have to say is do it off property.
100%.
That's the only thing I told them is do it over there, and I will only step in once I see that like it's done. But don't expect
over that property line.
Don't expect the other person to be arrested because you got your ass kicked. This is considered mutual combat. You get your ass kicked.
I would even take it a step further and just have police be, referees make sure to step in if it starts getting out of hand to the point where death is what's the word? Imminent.
Oh, and of course that's what I told them is I'll step in when I feel that it is done if you don't stop yourself. Thankfully, what
happens? People get heated. It's a lot of adrenaline. I get it.
When I said that though, they both like looked at each other, kind of calmed down a bit. It was like, are we really going to do this?
I mean, like, that's the thing about most duels, though. Like, people got heated, but then once they eventually figure out that, hey, we can actually throw this down and deal with this via fisticuffs, or traditionally it was like swords and dual pistols and all that crap. Most of those duels did not get to the field, and even less of them actually got to the point where they were taking their places. Because every step of the way, there was always someone there to mitigate the conflict if they were good at what they did and de-escalate it, and people shook hands and left on their way. Now, they might still be bitter about the whole situation, but nobody gets hurt.
Funny enough, speaking of duelings, I know that I don't remember which president it was, but before he was president, he was very well known for partaking in duelings, and his strategy was that he would basically let himself get shot and take his time to aim his pistol to win the duel, if you want to call it that.
Wasn't that Roosevelt?
No, it was not Roosevelt. It was... let me see here.
While y'all are doing that, I want to show something that I've been working on personally. Oops, I guess fucking backgrounds. I had to change it because my girlfriend decided she was going to sit down on the couch behind me. Working on this.
Oh, I love that.
Nice. I believe it was Andrew Jackson.
That actually tracks,
Barney,
yeah.
The president from my state. But yeah, I've been working on that, trying to get it like hidden. That's not meant to be a switchblade. It's meant to be a hidden blade.
Like Assassin's Creed?
For armor reasons.
Like Assassin's Creed?
Honestly, this is going to be more for like right here.
Mm-hmm. So the Valhalla style.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did I send you the YouTuber?
You might have. I don't know.
I'm Depain Reborn actually has several designs that would be very functional as real if you had the tooling and everything to make it a real hidden blade.
Now, see, the only thing that's really missing.
So you know who I'm talking about. See, Vod down there says he has one of his.
I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll open this up. And I'll change my background again.
My personal experience with it, I wasn't overall impressed with it. First off, it wasn't sharp. Second off, it was completely made out of aluminum.
It's meant to be a prop.
It's meant to be more of a prop than anything. And I was just like, well, all right. Well, at least I got some kind of plan to.
I was gonna say.
My own if I want.
I was gonna say I was more so referring to his designs as if you were to make it real. This is the concept that you would want to go with. He makes just prop hidden blades for cosplays.
The only problem I'm having with it is this piece right here, and I don't actually have a spring to force the blade out.
There's plenty of minds behind building those practically for actual real-world use. However, there's a lot of legal implications that I would understand why they would only make props.
I mean,
that's a lot of risk. No, I mean, that on top of the fact that it's purely meant as an assassin's weapon. Like, that's the whole thing. You're going to get your door kicked and your dog shot if you start making those, I'm telling you.
I mean, if you make it for yourself.
Which is probably why we don't see them advertised, because nobody talks about it.
Evil thought of the day.
For that reason.
There's now the pneumatic fight.
We don't talk about Fight Club.
What club?
It's the first rule.
I still don't know what you're talking about.
That's the point.
Exactly.
Oh, so are we going to continue on knives here? Do we have any more like major points?
I don't.
I'm pretty sure.
Self-defense, but I think that's where we're going with each of these weaponry.
the different
Did we already
ways
cover
to
the taser side and the rifles?
Not yet. We kind of going. I was wanting to like go but the different levels of defense because, as I said, I started with saying verbal judo. Use your words to de-escalate the situation. Don't always assume your call, your trashir, your taser, mace, baton, whatever the case that you're allowed to have. I definitely highly recommend going non-lethal before you go lethal in any situation.
Lethal should always be last resort, no matter what.
Yes.
But oftentimes the last resort comes really quick, so just keep that in mind too. But yeah, no, 100%. Those fights start and stop in an instant, and so you have to make that game time decision. Is this going to be worth doing lethal? Or like, should I be doing non-lethal? Is this just somebody that's fucking pissed at me, or are they coming after me because they want something from me, which either is my life or property, or the lives of people I care about. So it all happens in an instant. Just to keep things in have a frame of reference for any listeners. These things happen in the blink of an eye. You have to make game time decisions. This last resort thing doesn't mean that you have to take like all these slow steps in this process. No, if it's with an imminent threat of great bodily harm, typically is the wording, or death is typically your justification, morally, legally, and what else have you, to defend your life with lethal force.
So the way that I think about it is, take your trachea, for example. Have your non-lethal option with your lethal.
100%.
Have that non-lethal round as your first round, your warning shot, basically.
Warning shots are probably not going to be advised.
I'm going to say this right now.
I'm not saying that as the warning shot.
Okay.
I'm not saying do the non-lethal as a warning shot.
I'm going to say this as, if you're using your trachea, you use it to neutralize that threat, and you do not stop until they are neutralized. It is neutralized.
Oh no, 100%.
Yeah, the warning shots both hurt you practically and in the legal sphere. Because they'll...
trust me, I'm not saying do warning shots. I know that.
But yeah, no, your non-lethal options is mostly always allowed regardless, because like the whole point of
your round. So like having like the first 2 shots out of your magazine a non-lethal option.
That's what I'm saying.
You can switch.
The thing
I
is,
don't know of any of those that exist, to be honest.
getting hold of like rubber rounds is really hard as civilians.
Yeah, you'd think that they would actually be all for that, but no.
I know that there is a company out there that basically makes a paintball on steroids, kind of.
Simunition rounds.
No, not simunition.
Like
no, it's a it shoots like pepper balls.
Oh, the bear. Oh god, the Birna.
I think that's what it is. It basically functions like your normal firearm, except it works more like a CO2 pellet gun.
Yep. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, those actually are pretty popular for non-lethal means, pepper ball guns, and the pepper balls are actually pretty potent, not gonna lie. And the whole thing is, it really comes down to the criminal when you're using non-lethals. How badly do they want what you have? And how willing are they to turn tail and run away?
Yeah, like one of the companies is Umarex. Is one of the companies. They have a pepper ball pistol. They're not bad prices. Like the one that I'm currently looking at is $125. All right, have a good night. Oop. No. Get back.
No.
So you can get that as a non-lethal backup. Just once again, situational awareness on if you feel as though that will be the case, that is viable. I'm not going to say don't carry it. I would highly recommend you do, but also train with it. These also sometimes come with rubber rounds.
I was actually just looking that up for my 9, and I found a ammunition2go.com has 6-round 9mm rubber projectiles.
I mean, if you can afford that and get that.
I mean, it's currently out of stock, so it's $283 per round. So it's gonna be about $12-13 for the 6 rounds, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't seem too terrible.
I just wish we could use AT4s defensively. That's all I want.
I mean, it's
just got a
not
bunch of
illegal to
airbags, a
have
12-volt
a
battery,
cannon
and a
or
switchboard.
muskets.
What was that, Dirge?
I really just want a 12-volt battery, some airbags, a little bit of wire, and a switchboard, and a hole digger.
I also want claymores, our favorite little click boys.
Okay, so I need to read y'all y'all this review.
Of a claymore?
No,
Oh.
of the rubber round.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Oh, it's a go mead. So, this response is no power. Cost per round was super high considering other manufacturers sell it more for less. Barely made it 20 feet from barrel before dropping over 9 inches on target. Would not recommend. If you're trying to shoot this more than 20 feet...
Your average engagement distance is going to be about
less
that.
than that.
Yeah. Again, that 21-foot rule is kind of also your average engagement distance as well.
I'm going to say, unless they were trying to fire this out of a 9mm AR, which you're not going to want to do anyways, because why are you using an AR at that distance? This is going to be for your EDC.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to be Simon Riley, goddammit.
All right, John Wayne Gacy.
Wait, isn't that the clown dude?
Yes.
I'm not a clown.
You sure about that?
Clown.
Sure about that?
The only thing I do is take shots at children's parties. I don't actually try to hurt the kids at children's parties.
Okay, Chomo.
Alrighty, let's get back on topic. On topic.
Found out about that term. Thanks, TikTok.
Alrighty.
But yes, they actually do have rubber rounds for pistol calibers.
Okay, good to know.
Is it going to be cost effective?
Probably not.
I'll leave that up to the person who's buying it.
Is it cost effective, and or will the prosecutors have a wet dream over it?
Well, I mean, they're still going to be liable to the same laws governing not the lethal rounds too. So.
Yeah, but we're also talking about like deadly force versus assault, I guess, because now you're using non-lethals. So, I kind of get it, but like, just.
I mean, it's still going to be lethal up to a certain.
Oh yeah, you get within 5 feet. I guarantee that bullet will kill.
Regardless of how non-lethal it is.
Mm-hmm. Even
we could just be like the Israelis and use .22 long rifle. It's less than lethal.
I beg to differ, sir.
It can still bounce around inside.
Oh, that myth has been busted already.
You get it in the head, scramble the brain.
Yeah, I mean you still gotta be in within close distance to get it through the skull, especially Aru's.
I do have a big head, so you know what?
I was gonna go for
It's not my fault. It's not my fault I was dropped on it. It's my mom's fault.
You have an armored head.
All right.
It's basically 3A by itself.
Alrighty. I was gonna say, I mean, talk about 22 long rifle. There's the Kel-Tec CMR 30. That's in 22 Magnum.
Is that the? Oh no, okay, the 22 Magnum. I was gonna say that's not the little handgun.
Yes.
They make. The plastic. Oh, it is the plastic one.
Mm-hmm.
Plus,
I've heard that one's dog shit.
The PMR 30.
I've heard it's dog shit.
I saw a review of it from what's his name?
It's the one with the plastic slide, right?
No.
No? Okay, then I'm thinking of a different one.
Here, I'll do this.
If you want to do something really cool, just use 5.7 for a defensive round.
Okay, so I looked up through my DMs. You actually had not sent me that. Not the last week.
Honestly,
the last
Smith
one I
&
got
Wesson,
from you was that meme for the helicopter.
Smith & Wesson
ride.
makes a better foldable carbine than Kel-Tec does. Like, literally, Smith & Wesson took the idea of the sub 2000 and just made it better. Like, 100%.
But it's Smith & Wesson. What do you expect?
Yeah, they do like to copy things and make them semi-tolerable, so...
But yeah, that's a PMR 30. That carries 30 rounds of 22 Magnum.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry,
that thing's a
30?
piece of shit.
Really? I saw a review on it that they were like really impressed and really happy with what it was.
It's still a plastic slide sliding on plastic. You're gonna run into a lot of issues. Like my buddy, his dad has one of those, and for whatever reason, it has so many cycling problems. It's insane. It's a fun thing to shoot until it stops working.
Hickok 45 is the one that I watched for the review.
I love his channel. I really do.
He's got some nice trish ears.
Yeah, the dude's got a Springfield trapdoor. I need one of those. Like, all right, if we're going,
I need to give me a new.
The level of autism that the U.S. military was going through when they decided not to use repeating rifles, and they're like, no, we're just going to use a trapdoor. And so, like, you know what? The trapdoor's baller, but, like, you guys have lever actions already. Figure your fuck out.
The thing is Yellow Boys were like a couple months a soldier's salary. Because at the time, soldiers, for the most part, if they wanted those things, it wasn't issued to them. They had to, yeah, exactly. They had to get them themselves. So,
which honestly is a superior upgrade, and I feel like there's probably one of those guys in the unit that has like the big swinging dick, and he's got the nice repeating rifle and everything. Is like the tube comes out into your face, and everybody else is like, "That sounds pretty gay, my guy." I just like the trapdoor.
You know you like the tube coming in your face.
Yeah, you know you like the tube coming.
You know you like it.
But yeah,
You did something different last night.
Well, one of the things that I was listening to.
all right, what happens at the Sabak table stays at Mando after hours.
Oh yeah, I forgot we're not on After Dark yet.
Oh fuck! I've got plenty of time, guys. I slept in really late this morning, so
I don't go to bed till 2 a.m. So.
Oh, I have to be up at 3:30, so you know.
I got to be up at 4.
Tomorrow's Monday. I don't have to be up until technically 1 o'clock.
Does everybody here at least understand the difference, of course, with not pertaining to non-lethals, the difference between stun guns and tasers, right?
Aren't stun guns don't shoot out the little...
Correct. They're just the little buzz.
I thought that was taser, not stun.
No, the tasers are the ones that shoot projectile, the prongs.
Yep. The thing is taser is actually the brand that everyone knows.
Yes.
That makes those. Sawzall is another one of those, like, I know this as a Sawzall, but it's actually a reciprocator saw is what it's actually the tool. But everyone's like, oh, that's a Sawzall.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure
it is.
Under the legal terms, when they use taser and stun gun, they do mean two totally different things. The taser does shoot projectiles, but some models that I've seen online, they do in fact also have a stun gun built into it for close quarters jabbing. So
the thing about tasers is if they've got the cartridge on them, that's removable. Once that's spent, you can take that off and use it like a stun gun.
Right.
That's built into them usually.
It's kind of like putting a bayonet on your musket because you only have one fucking shot, and it takes a few seconds to reload, and then they're already on top of you, beating the shit out of you with your own rifle.
I mean, unless you're using the Musa-Nagan, then you got a fucking club.
I have one of those. I bought it for the girlfriend. She loves it until she shoots it. I'm pretty sure she's gonna hate it.
Just remind her she'll need to at least shoot it twice. The second time to relocate her shoulder back into place from dislocating after the first.
I've got her a shoulder pad. And to be fair, mine is the shorter boy. It's the 1944 version.
Ah, okay.
So it's more snappy. It doesn't... Most of the recoil doesn't go into my shoulder. It just points up.
I've only got like 6 months left to pay on my car. So, coming January, Teddy gonna have some fun money.
She recently found out what a Yugoslavian SKS was with the grenade launch attachment to it, and she said, "Why couldn't we get one of those?"
Because the federal government says no grenade for
no,
you.
it didn't have the attachment on it. One of my Cabela's had one. It was in beautiful condition, and also I did tell her you can't use the spiky boy in defensive use because that's a war crime. and to be fair, we've also made it in federal statute, I believe, that you cannot use a bayonet defensively. It's not something you can use in self-defense.
So yes,
I'm using it.
I'm just gonna say, Canada.
So
Canada is the land of war crimes. All right, you're half the reason we have the Geneva Suggestions.
So yes, Canada has two personalities. Happy-go-lucky, I'm gonna be your friend, or war crime, genocide.
Peggy Magabo slitting throats in another trench.
Yeah, we're basically the Jeffrey Dahmer of the.
We're just gonna watch a movie, bud. Okay.
But for those,
put in this disclaimer, please do not take anything we were saying right this second seriously.
now this is something that I can say for a fact. The reason you cannot use traditional, like old school bayonets that people think of for muskets is because they are three-sided triangles. No, that's
that's what I have.
No, I'm talking about the triangular ones.
Yep.
That's like a World War I bayonet. I'm talking about the ones that were on like the in the brown bess muskets used by the British during the Revolutionary War. Those types of blades, and there are some blades nowadays that are tri-pointed as well, those are illegal because you cannot close a triangular hole. There is no way to close a triangular hole.
Yeah, it's seen as inhumane. Meanwhile, we have the trench sweeper and chemically induced flames.
Just don't put your gas in a styrofoam container, please.
Yeah, don't do that.
Fortunate son and painted black intensifies.
I am the Lorax, and I speak for the trees. And
For some reason, they speak
Vietnamese.
Okay, that's probably going to need to get cut out.
No, that's staying in.
It'll go into the blooper.
I'm also subsequently the rule is
I
not
can
only am I
find
not allowed to
perfectly
have
say that.
flamethrowers and lighters, but I'm also not allowed to have napalm. But I'm pretty sure most people aren't
Technically,
allowed to have
nobody's
that.
allowed to have napalm, so we're safe on that.
Just
Why do you have
because
to crush my dreams?
I can neither confirm nor deny that I know how to make such a concoction.
Oh, people have been tricking the AI into teaching them how to make it to it. Oh my fucking god!
What the fuck?
It's like what? How
do I
to
avoid
not make
making
it?
napalm? Yeah. Please don't actually try doing it. It's
What do I
not
need
well.
to stay away from to not make napalm?
One thing I will say, God bless Texas, I can own an actual flamethrower.
Oh, I can own it here
I
too.
can too.
Surprisingly, they're not NFA items and they're not FFL items.
Oh no, like the one that what's his name, Tesla?
Oh, okay.
Elon Musk.
Elon
Yes,
Musk.
Elon
The
Musk
one that
made it
they
all.
made, it's legal here in Texas.
Oh God.
Yeah, you can get them used. They don't make them anymore. They
Oh,
just
yeah, no.
continued that project.
That was I did this because I could. Now that I'm like, I'm done. But yeah, I could have.
In January. I'm gonna have that fun money. I might be starting to spend some money.
Mhm.
When I have $500 a month, I don't have to spend on a
Also,
car
I
payment.
will say this: as far as rifles are concerned, you should all have at least an AK or an AR because your invaders will be
AR-10?
using one or the other. So, in real life and video games, enemies do drop loot. It's just very frowned upon to pick it up.
Now I will say this on mine. What's the round that the AK uses? Is it 7.62x5.1?
Yes.
39.
5.1 is a 308. 5.1
Your
is
AK
308.
round can get fired out of my AR-10.
Yeah, so the 308 can get fired out of the AR-10 traditionally.
Oh yeah, the AR.
7.62x5.1. The traditional AK is the 7.62x3.9. They also have the newer standard is the 5.45. Those are what they use.
Now I know the 5.1 is the NATO round.
Yes, that
That's
is
the
the
one
NATO
I can
round.
fire out of my rifle, the one that I assembled myself because I assembled it in 308.
And the American 7.62 is 300 black.
Mhm. Yeah, the thing about the AR-10 is it was basically America's way of saying, "Oh, you like the AK round? We'll put it in our own platform," and they did, and it's better.
With a longer cartridge and a lot more fucking powder.
And it's a better gun, honestly.
What is?
Not
The FAL is a better gun. The AR-10 is questionable unless you have one of the Gucci ones.
Yeah.
But-
If you don't customize and build your own,
I will say, I do not knock the AK-47 platform. It is the most reliable gun you can ever get.
and I have the
You're not
103
wrong.
series. I fucking love this thing. Oh. I got a nickel boron upgraded trigger and the hammer, and the action of it for the reset is super smooth and defined. One thing I had to learn, because I'm not a huge AK dude, but this has been my gateway drug, is that there's no wall on the
We do
trigger.
not do
It
drugs
just
on
goes
this
all the way.
podcast, I swear.
It just goes all the way. That trigger has no fucking wall. So, like, you don't know where it is. You have to pull the trigger every single time and just kind of try to figure out where that reset is and ride it as much as possible. But there is no wall like there are in typical mil-spec AR triggers.
Oh, before I
And
forget,
most handgun triggers.
Aru, your mentioning of trigger pull reminded me of this. I saw this morning on Twitter. Somebody made the M90 shotgun from Halo.
Oh yeah, seen that.
And it's
Excuse
got
me?
a 25-pound pull.
I love that. Also, why?
What?
I don't fucking know.
I need a link to this now. I need to see this.
You
I
know
need
what
to
I'm gonna
see
do?
this.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm gonna
I
bull
saw
puppet.
this video this
I'm gonna bull
morning,
puppet.
and they had someone in Mjolnir armor firing it.
Okay, obviously that was a cosplay, but
Well,
I
yeah,
need the
obviously, yeah.
I need this video. I need to see this video now.
I'm working
Yeah,
on it.
that's great.
I'm going to bull puppet 100%.
She's just like, what?
Oh no! Here's the thing. One of my inspirations to want to be a gunsmith, to learn gunsmithing, and to make guns, like actual from scratch guns, is I want to make the Halo guns
Okay.
real.
Now, obviously I'm not going to show anything that's needing censored on this, but I just want y'all to see the first picture I see when I open up my Twitter just now. What y'all doing in this situation?
Probably needing some new drawers and that's it.
It's like obviously you're not going to even know this is about to fucking happen. Holy
the Hemingway's solution would have been to have a pile of grenades and just start dropping them in there one by one.
That looked like a Megalodon was coming up to have you as a Cheeto puff.
I mean, there isn't really much you can do. It looks like it's ready to eat you.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, if you're lucky,
you can blow it up from the inside.
I was gonna say, if you're lucky enough that it comes up and snaps around you without hurting you with the teeth, you have a chance.
And then that's the next one.
Start cutting your way out of there, even though there's
it's
no
an
air.
Artist rendition of a realistic
Beavis.
Are we in the after hours portion now?
No, because we still got to get to brewing.
Yep, and I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that actually has some brewing that's done. I might actually start a brew tonight too.
Tragic misconception. I'm not even gonna go down the road of what I thought it was.
Brewing.
Heard about the 4-bore rifle?
The what?
Yes.
That thing is awesome.
The what rifle?
The 4-bore.
Sounds.
It's Russian 12 gauge.
It's an inch across.
Hey, Kando,
Projectile.
if I just saw this one. You might be interested in this. The Bungie rewards, the out of stock ones. They're apparently restocking them up until July 13th.
Why?
Ring with several seals.
Yeah, Kentucky Ballistics did Kentucky Ballistics did a video on the 4-bore.
Why?
In slow motion, his shoulder just gets obliterated. Like, there's so much force hitting back on there, you just see all the jiggle.
I'm sorry.
I'm in jiggle, but it's not what you're talking about.
Anyways.
I love Twitter.
See, when you said brewing, I was thinking of Kaczynski, so, I mean...
I thought you might have heard brooding.
No. I was thinking of Oklahoma.
No, but to talk about self-defense, the levels to go off of is go with verbal judo first and foremost, to the best of your ability. Pray it doesn't get to hand-to-hand combat. If you do, my personal recommendations for 3 forms of fighting to learn: true Krav Maga, which is Israeli Jiu-Jitsu. It is designed in Israel for war and combat. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for ground combat, for grappling and whatnot. And then Aikido for defensive redirection. You use Aikido before you go into any of the others.
Or my favorite, the pocket sand.
All right, Dale.
Guns don't kill people, the government does.
But those are my personal recommendations for actual self-defense fighting styles. I'm pretty sure others would disagree and have their own. That's perfectly fine. You do you. After that, make sure to have a non-lethal option: taser, baton, pepper spray, any of those combinations, all 3 if you can. Sure, go for it. And then a call or a trashir. Think about the situation and think of how high up on that ladder you need to go of not a very non-lethal with verbal judo to very lethal with trashirs.
Oh yeah.
Where would you place flashbangs?
Depending on how close you get, it is non-lethal to lethal.
Showing it in their pants.
I would push flashbangs in the non-lethal to lethal category.
To be fair, though, they are mostly, or they are designed for more distractive purposes. So obviously, people use them for like room clearing.
One thing I should point out with tasers and stun guns: if the person you use it on has a heart condition,
it will kill them.
It will cause even further problems. That being said, there are insurances out there to protect you in those situations. Just keep that in mind. There is protection out there.
Found it. Finally. I actually had to do a Google search for it.
Is a plastic recycling company that builds machines for filament extrusion.
This is the world's first custom M90 shotgun for the video game. And my god, it looks like it came straight out of the game. The coolest part about this whole thing is that this is an actual functioning gun.
Good lord. Your younger siblings, am I right? What the fuck?
Right now to pick up Nathan. He's the guy who made the shotgun. Nathan is flying all the way out from North Carolina to make this video. Today, we will be taking the real-life Halo shotguns for a series of impact prods tests to see what it can do against steel targets.
I really need to relocate from Canada.
Yeah. I keep telling you.
Just swim across Lake Huron.
Yeah, the borders are basically open. They're not going to prosecute you.
This belongs in here.
Oh boy. But yeah,
There we go. There's the link.
the Halo weapons of the humans are what really got me into being like, I want to be a gunsmith because I want to make that a reality. For the longest time, I've been racking my head on how to make the battle rifle real because of where its magazine is and the cycling of the bolt and everything. I'm just sitting here like, how is this going to work?
But yeah, so apparently that shotgun has like a 25-pound trigger pull. You gotta use 2 fingers. That's what she said.
But yeah, that's the one thing. Situational awareness. I cannot stress that enough. First and foremost, when it comes to self-defense, is situational awareness. The best thing when it comes to self-defense is not needing to have to use any self-defense. That is your best situation, is when you don't have to use it at all. Situational awareness will help you prevent that.
As a keeper, it will help you be aware of what's going on as well, because, like we're supposed to defend everybody around us.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do that if you don't know what's going on.
Exactly. Quite honestly, if I was walking by a school and I heard that there was a shooting going on, yes, I would run in there. I would run in there to protect children.
The thing is, you'd be taken down as a target.
You're assuming that the police got there before me.
Or that they're actually going to do something.
Well, because not to mention, you have to realize that when they go in there, they know that there is a person there with a gun. They will not hesitate to body you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that's what I was getting at.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm aware that is a possibility. However, if I see a situation and PD is not there yet, I am fully prepared to run into that school to defend those children.
Same. 100%.
To be fair, you should have good procedure when dealing with an extreme situation like that, on top of make sure you do get some decent training, make sure you do it regularly. I know that's something, well, I mean, like, because you want to take care of knowledge surrounding CQB, room clearing by yourself because you're not going to have the backup of a formal team like the police are. So if you are responding to a situation because you just happen to be in the area, which I don't think is outside the realm of possibility, but it should be
Not
said
anymore.
that and it doesn't even need to be a school full of children. It could be a movie theater. It could be anywhere where there's innocence that there is an active shooter. If you want to set yourself up for success for active shooting response, make sure you have like-minded people around you that might give you some backup in case of emergency, that you can try to you can hopefully formulate a plan where you always have somebody with you when you're in public in case one needs to call 911 and call for backup for whatever team that you've also deployed. Also, make sure I feel like there's a level of this that we could probably communicate and coordinate with local sheriffs and or police departments that may or may not be open to having an auxiliary team for active shooter response that may or may not allow you to use their facilities to train while they have some sort of supervision over you, in which case you will then be also helpful and responsible for responding to those situations. So I think that's a potential. I think that's a possibility. I guess it depends on how big their damn egos are regarding those situations and how much they trust the people involved. So
that's something I actually think me and you, Kata, should talk in the PR chat in regards to, you know, for all those that are local to your area, meeting up with the police force and being like, hey, this is who we are, this is what we do, we would like to get training in this situation because this is part of our tenet.
And if we are going strictly from an American law perspective on this as well, which they might be more open to than our specific faith process here, because they're going to look at us like we're fucking crazy, 100%. There's no way around it. It's going to happen. If we go through this from the perspective of constitutionality
or enlist in their services.
Yeah, and so basically what you would want to do is approach it from a constitutionality perspective that might be more approachable and say, hey, we are obligated by not only federal law but by the Constitution, which is law of land, that we must be prepared to be part of the militia in case of detriment to lawful authority within our community. That being said, that might be the jurisdiction more of the sheriff because they can employ posse comitatus, and if I'm fucking saying that right, and in which case they may activate who they deem necessary to form the local militia, the unorganized militia under the Constitution, to deal with such problems. And you can open that up to deal with very many different areas because it's basically about getting the law back on track and getting out of a without rule of law situation, which is what you can argue is happening every time there's an active shooter situation.
Yep.
So
yeah, talk to your sheriff.
Talk to your first responders. Get to know those people. See if they're actually worth their salt or if they're the kind of people you probably should just kind of stay away from. Because there's always going to be those bad departments. I'm certainly in an area where they're less trustworthy, unfortunately.
Same. Memphis.
So it really comes down to your area. If you know your sheriff, if you know your police and the departments near you, you're already doing way better than I am for sure. Talk to those people. I would even say talk to local politicians. Like, we need to get something on track to prevent these legal confines that we need new
You're
laws.
cutting really bad, Aru.
Yeah.
Where did I leave off?
You were talking about if we're already talking to the local law.
Oh, I was saying if you're already talking to the local law, you're already doing better than I am, and there's every tool that we have is already written out for us within the rule of law.
I'll be back in about 2 minutes.
So we don't need to keep making new laws to handle the situation. We have sufficient people and resources in the unorganized militia within this country to handle said situations. We just need people ballsy enough to fucking do it.
Yep.
That means protecting our schools and also making probably a cultural shift if we're talking specifically about schools. Stop putting your kids in fucking public schools. But that's just a personal opinion. I don't think that the Prussian school system does anything for us anymore. But that's a totally different topic. But yeah, talk to those people. See about what they have for an auxiliary force. and see if you can, if you're qualified to join them, and see if they would allow you to be a standby person for an active shooter response team.
Something that I know some departments do is, depending on your reasoning, you can go and talk to them and ask to do ride-alongs. That's a good way
That is another thing, yeah.
That's a good way to get in and be like, hey, I want to do a ride-along to see how you guys work and talk and chat, and, you know, I want to learn what it is that you do so that to get the knowledge of how things go about.
Last time
it helps establish good communication rapport with them, so yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, last time I did a ride along was when I lived in Missouri, and it was mostly uneventful, other than I did a response to a guy selling meth, so they arrested him, and then that was about as much eventful as it was.
I'm just remembering a movie that was following two police officers. They caught a dude that was like selling drugs or something, and fucked with his head, saying how he's got like this big shot gangbanger dude in his back seat of Hispanic gang or whatever, and sits him in the back. Dude's pretending to be cuffed and everything, but he's talking in Spanish, freaking the guy out. But all he's talking about is like, what am I gonna have for lunch? You know, a bologna sandwich, nah, some beef sounds good. And all this entire time, his face is just being like this menacing, imposing look of like, And then he just looks over at the guy, freaking him out, brings his arms around as though he broke the cuffs, and it's just like, on the dude. I really need to find that video to share for y'all. It's fucking hilarious. But yeah, as far as doing that, no, I'm not saying we have to do any of what we said of going to the police and everything like that. You don't have to. However, to be prepared to defend those who cannot defend themselves. That is,
or rather, those who kind of refuse to, because let's be honest, there's a lot of lazy people that don't go to the lengths that we do.
Nonetheless, one of our tenets is protect those who cannot defend themselves.
Correct.
Whether we like the person or not, if they are in trouble, we should be there to help. A Mandalorian does not hold grudges, right?
This is the way.
Hey, Big Rooney.
I got cold again. Dog wanted to go out, and now I'm cold. So I put blankie on.
No, that
what
being...
would I do?
Just not much.
Gotcha.
But yeah, if you wish to talk to your sheriff, because a sheriff can deputize anyone and make them a deputy for a situation. If the sheriff deems you capable, you can be deputized, and you will have to follow the sheriff's orders.
And that's where the oversight function comes in, and that's why there's little risk if you're squared away with the supervision of whoever has given you the authority to do so for those specific instances. There's essentially like next to zero risk as long as you make sure they are squared away.
Mm-hmm.
If they understand the ROEs, the SOPs, and they do the training and show up, then obviously those are people that you can trust to have people's back and save lives. Like, that's perfectly reasonable.
Mm-hmm. With that being said, I would really like to have a meetup for any Vode that are in the San Antonio area.
That's Zell Namore talk the way.
Yeah. I would like to meet up with Vode in the San Antonio area to talk about and, deepen our bond as Vode.
To be fair, in Texas, and I would argue Oklahoma as well, probably the best states to reach out to local authorities and actually try to form up an auxiliary team just within your specific community.
Let's form a posse.
Essentially, that's 100% what it is.
Funny enough, you want to know how the counties of Texas were chosen for law?
Followed by the farmlands.
No, it's actually the courts. The counties had to have their distance be within 1 day's travel by horse.
I think that's where the 20-mile thing came up. Because I actually do know that, because Tennessee was the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Most major cities are within 1 day horse ride, or about 20 miles.
Mm-hmm. But, so I think we've talked a bit pretty decent. Now, I will say, when it comes to self-defense, you're not really going to have your rifle with you as your EDC. So that is very situational. Don't go into every situation and think for self-defense that you're going to have that, because realistically you shouldn't.
I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't use my rifle as self-defense.
I mean, if I'm at home.
That's what the shotgun, the 9mm, or the calls are for, the blades are for.
Mm-hmm.
The rifle, that's your food gathering.
Or mass self-defense.
Zombies.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, sure. I'll say this. Going into a personal opinion, when it comes to the whole thing of like, why do you need a rifle? If the government was to, the whole argument of like, it's to protect from tyranny of the state. If our government, and then the argument of like, well, how are you going to fight the military with what we have? First off, should I remind you about Vietnam? Second off, if our soldiers actually follow their oath to the Constitution, they're not going to be fighting the civilians. They're going to be on the civilians. If that's why I said, if they follow.
You guys are also underestimating how much the power of a paycheck signed does to people and their methods of which they will go to make sure to secure that.
I solemnly swear to uphold the Constitution and defend this nation from enemies both foreign and domestic. A tyrannical government and domestic.
I'm sorry. Keyword domestic.
A tyrannical government that is harm to the people is an enemy, is a domestic enemy. As such, it is our military's responsibility to protect the citizens from such a thing.
I hide in my blankie. That's my thing.
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't there a thing whenever NATO was formed since after World War II that any unlawful or inhumane is given, that they have the right to disobey the order? Isn't that one of the
Yep.
things?
Yes, you do have an
Unlawful
obligation
orders
to,
cannot.
yeah.
A good example, actually, during World War II, the movie Hacksaw Ridge is a perfectly good. It's a very good movie. Andrew Garfield did a really good job in that.
I was gonna say, I actually have not seen that. I know it just because of TikTok and stuff.
I highly recommend people watch that movie to see, because there is a trial. Shortened of what really happened, but there was a trial for the individual that it is about, because he refused to pick up a rifle. Had
one of the first conscientious objectors.
Yep. If it had not been for a high-ranking commander bringing up the fact of how are we to defend our nation's civil rights from enemies if we do not uphold them even within our own ranks. Basically stating it is his right to refuse to carry a firearm, and we have no right to force that on him if he is a conscientious objector. That's basically what it came down to.
Pretty sure medics aren't really supposed to carry firearms, and if they do...
Oh, they do.
Oh, no. Doc is the one you protect.
Mm-hmm. But
and Doc's usually the one that's not going to be focused on...
Medics do still carry. Medics do still carry.
They do, yeah. I'm not saying they don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they usually carry the M4 carbine nowadays. But yeah, their main thing is, all right, who's hurt versus returning fire.
And may the spirit be with you for anyone who decides to take aim at Doc. Because you just made yourself target number one.
Mm-hmm.
Where your position will no longer exist in about 0.3 seconds.
Yup. Medic down. Excuse me?
It's like, the fuck did you just say?
Geneva suggestions have been turned off for this round.
Okay, so the biggest thing that comes to mind is the USS Wisconsin.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Incoming fire from hill. XO, do you see that hill over there? Yes, sir. I don't want to see it anymore. Yes, sir.
I'll do you one better. D-Day, USS Texas. USS Texas.
You guys want to see something cool? Watch this.
Push. Y'all can't reach me anymore.
Push the German lines back far enough that all the battleships are like, okay, they're out of range. USS Texas came back from resupply, was like, oh really? Turn port to starboard. Flooded one side. Flooded the starboard ballast. Leaned about what, like 5 degrees?
I think it was about a 15.
Up to 15 degrees, and just lobbed shells even further. I was like, yeah.
Like, oh, can't touch us.
Hold my beer. Because
I love those two examples. I really do.
Because what is it?
Temper.
Mm-hmm. God bless the USS Texas.
And Chuck Norris. May 5th, 1944, the Axis powers
heard of Chuck Norris's birth and said, "We surrender."
Yeah, they surrendered on May 5th. May 4th, Chuck Norris was born.
Mm-hmm. All jokes aside, yeah. with self-defense getting back on track, just be careful, self-awareness, know your local laws when it comes to what tools you can and can't have for self-defense, because with pepper spray, batons, and tasers, there are laws in regards to those as well. I know some lawyers will do what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Basically talks of, like, usually you go talk to them about your trial, what your case is, and they'll determine whether or not there's a term for that. Consultation. There you go. So I know some lawyers will do consultations for fairly good prices, if not free. But definitely go to a reputable one in the area.
Don't go to Ask a Lawyer. They're gonna charge you like $500 to talk to one online.
No.
Also found out, Ask a Vet. Same way. Yeah.
But I think we're good on self-defense, and now can go over to the fun juice.
Oh, you mean I get to go to my phone now?
Yep.
Okie dokie, boss. Be back in about a half a second.
Yep, because now we get to go and talk about brewing some ale and grog and whatnot. So we get into the fun happy juice.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can. Sorry for the burps, everyone.
I am on.
Sorry.
So I'm gonna switch over to camera now, and y'all get a tour of my apartment. Around. So when brewing, it's really important, and I've actually finished this batch, so I'm actually going to take care of this batch. I might start a new one tonight too, but when you're actually fermenting, it's really important to have it in a dark area. For me, that's my laundry.
Sounds about right.
And for that purpose, I actually unscrew this light, because if I cut it on, it will actually direct light hit the brew.
Mm-hmm. Have you thought about putting up a curtain?
This actually wasn't meant to be a let's brew here permanently thing. It just turned into it.
Mm-hmm.
So I use a 32-inch punching balloon to catch the CO2 and to keep oxygen out.
For your burper?
For the airlock, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize for the messiness of my kitchen, but this is the general setup. At least if I use a 2-liter.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have the punching balloon onto the 2-liter neck.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also got, and please pardon the mess in the apartment, I actually did a lot of vacuuming yesterday, so a lot of stuff got moved around. I've also got a 1-gallon carboy, which will have an actual airlock catch on it. So look, if I was to take this out, you can actually see there might be some bugs up inside of it, but that's because they crawled in on those little holes.
Mm-hmm. Thankfully, they can't get in.
Exactly. The rubber stopper keeps the oxygen from going in, but it allows the CO2 to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I know I'm doing this in the reverse order because, you know what, I've actually got a batch ready to rack, which means I'm going to take it out of this and put it into whatever I'm going to store it in, because I really don't want all that sediment that's right there. You can see all that kind of light colored stuff. That's sediment. That's the stuff you don't want to.
That's the dead yeast.
It's the shit of the yeast, yeah. Well, then I'm going to come over here to where I've got my 2 liters, my empty 2 liters, mind you, and hopefully they're clean-ish. I'm going to grab 3 of them because one 1-gallon carboy and obviously a 2-liter will fill up. This will probably give me about 5 liters, give or take, because the devil's cut and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Go ahead and reverse the camera back in and see if we can find a decent place to put y'all so you can see what I'm doing here.
Totally a professional quality.
Oh yeah, here's a phone, so not right. So then you go and grab your wrapping tube, which is just a piece of PVC pipe or something that you can suction, siphon. There we go. That was the word I was looking for. Siphon out your meat.
That shows how cold it is in there.
Right? Yeah, the bottle had suctioned itself in.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know how a suction vacuum works, just put one end in, and you're going to kind of siphon out a little bit. Then you're going to put one end into your receiving, and just let it flow. Let it flow. Let it flow.
We can't just brew anymore.
Fuck that, I am.
I'm actually really interested in making some mead.
It's actually really fucking easy. It's just honey, yeast, and water.
Mm-hmm. And you can add things like fruits, cloves, and things like that.
I've actually thought about doing a blackberry. This is just a regular honey that I did on this one. And unfortunately, I had a raisin get in the way, so now I need to restart the cycle. For reference, it smells good too.
I've never had mead.
So far I've gotten about 1 liter out when a little raisin decided to hook onto the bottom of my
And the raisins are for sugar for the yeast, correct?
It is a protein for the yeast, yes. That is 100% what that is for. Doesn't add anything to the flavor. Doesn't do anything to the meat itself. It just gives the raisins something, the yeast something to eat.
How much raisins would you say you used?
I put in the 1 gallon carboy. I put 1 pack into it, like 1 full pack of raisins that you would get at the store.
So like quarter a cup?
Single size raisin, I'm sorry. Single serve.
So like the little boxes?
Yeah.
Okay, so about 1/8 of a cup?
Maybe. I don't know the exact size of the portioning.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I got that one, go ahead and open up and change the camera angle because you don't want to look at my fat ass. Okay, now I'm going to slowly, because I don't want to kill the siphon, I'm going to slowly pull the tube out. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to get a lot of sediment on this first racking, so I'll usually use put that over so I can actually watch it siphon out. I'll go and use the coffee filter combo to actually siphon out or filter out as much sediment as I can.
Mm-hmm. I saw a video where a person took white flesh dragon fruit and red flesh dragon fruit and turned it into mead.
I mean, that could work for your flavoring, but that's not really going to give you the... Leo, stop it.
I want to try that.
No. Mead not for puppies. Alright, so that's as much as I'm going to get out of that. Because the rest of it's going to be the devil's cut, the raisins, and the sediment.
Mm-hmm.
But I got quite a bit out of this. So I got, these are the 2 liters that I filled up, and the amount that's left.
Pretty
So
sure with a proper siphon, you'd be able to get more of that out.
Oh yeah, and I'd get less sediment in it.
Yeah, that too.
So I'm gonna let this set for a couple hours, and then I'll come back and work on filtering it. Which I've got one over here I can actually do. Now you'll notice a little bit of a different color on this one, because I actually did a blackberry in this one. And you can see a little bit of the sediment still in it from all the filtering that I did do.
Mm-hmm.
That's not discoloration of the bottle, that's actually the color inside. And you can see some stuff floating up inside of it is the sediment that got jostled when I picked the bottle up.
Mm-hmm.
So that actually had, I think it kind of looks like a ginger ale color to me.
Yeah.
About the closest thing I could think of to that. And when you're storing this, you actually want to store it in a dark area as well. So I tend to put mine in a cupboard in the kitchen, because it can get nice and dark down inside of here. And go ahead and put this back down here too. Watch out, I'm done. You don't get none of Daddy's specialties. Go ahead and pop that off. I don't tend to reuse the balloons. I just let them be a one-time use kind of thing. It's easier that way. So let's go ahead and open up this third one, and we'll get that last 2 that are done.
If I may ask, why do you only do them one time?
Something could happen with the way that the seal forms between the balloon, the rings on the 2 liter. I'm sure they could be used more than once. I'm not saying don't. It's just personal preference. I don't. And there's my siphon tube. The siphoning works. I just thought of this analogy. It's the same way you clean out a fish tank.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got some kind of automatic siphoner, that can work too.
Oops.
Just happens to be this is what I've got, and this is what I use.
I just noticed Vladurge's message in the chat.
What did he say?
Don't accept Don't accept presents from Canadians on Christmas. In war, we give out direct presents. I'm pretty sure that was a while ago.
It was. It was before I swapped over to this. We were still talking about the Wisconsin and the Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So at least this racking will get out the raisins from it. Although I'll probably have like 95% of the sediment working its way into it. Man, unfortunately, it's going really slow just because of the fucking raisins getting into it.
I think I'm gonna miss out here, guys, on the after hours because I gotta go to bed.
Alrighty.
Night, dude. Jateka.
Jateka Ruhutun. So,
play no more.
so, while Vodkatus is doing his siphon and whatnot, I'm actually going to talk about a little bit about another drink that's fairly easy to get a hold of, and that's grog. There are several types of grog out there. However, a traditional grog from the Royal Navy consists of water, dark rum, lemon juice, and cinnamon.
This is getting annoying.
If you're wanting from another area of like pirates, of being the Caribbean, you would use water, light rum, grapefruit juice, orange juice, pineapple juice, cinnamon, and honey.
Alright, the raisins are getting annoying. That is unfortunately a problem that happens with this method of feeding. Is when you go to siphon, the raisins get in the way. So that's when I come up to this little cabinet and grab this funnel and a filter. Put in bottle, and now you can filter out the big stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to do too much getting sediment, but it will catch the raisins.
Okay.
So usually I will rack about 2 to 3 times because I want the first one will get the raisins out, and then in a couple hours I'll come. And the raisins are actually edible, and they are highly alcoholic.
Of course. I mean, it's similar. It's similar to like when you make moonshine.
Yeah.
Can't let the apples, peaches, and all that stuff, can't let it go to waste.
Cherries. Alright, so I went ahead and dumped that out. Now, usually I'll just go ahead and dump these down the sink drain.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of tossing them in the trash, because a certain somebody down here likes to get in the trash.
Mm-hmm. Once again, nose level.
Seems to be it's just me and you and Haran now. We lost everybody else.
I mean, it is 9 o'clock. We've been going for 3 hours.
Those are rookie numbers. Come on. Go.
Well,
so now that I've got those, how much money do I actually have? I might actually have enough honey that I can do a 2-liter batch tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and get that started.
How much honey would you say would be used per?
Now, I tend to get the 5-pound from the store because I don't have a local supply yet. So I will use, out of that, if I'm making a 1-gallon batch, I'll use half of it. So about 2.5, 3 pounds for a 1-gallon brew.
Of honey?
Of honey, yes. There's your food. I was wondering where the fuck that went. Just found dumbass's food on the stove. So, what I will use is a 12-quart pot to generally make that. Okay. And when you're going to actually brew, you're going to want to use, if you're doing, just say you're doing, because this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a 2-liter. You're going to get half to be your mead mix, your honey mix, and the other half is just going to be straight up water when you're done.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go ahead and rinse this bottle out, because obviously this is one of my fermenting bottles. And I'll generally use these about 2 or 3 times before I'll swap it out for a new one. It's got to be really dirty inside for it to get swapped out. I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself real quick so you don't hear the bottle shaking.
Alrighty. If you wish to talk, Dirge, by all means.
Alright, so basically what I'm doing is just sterilizing and cleaning the bottle. Because you do want a clean bottle. So I just use a wee little bit of soap, probably about a dime size. Get some hot water, which I'm going to use the Keurig to get. So I'm going to mute myself while that runs.
I was gonna say, isn't it recommended when brewing that whenever you brew, that you're, I'm trying to think, the mead bucket, or the, I think it might be the one that you have to have it super sanitized or something like that.
Yeah, the brewing bottle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to make sure it's like very, very clean and sterile.
Yep, and that's what I'm doing right now. I got to do that twice. Actually, I'm not going to do it on the 1 gallon carboy because I don't have. I've got maybe a pound and a half of honey, I'd say. So that'll be a good sweet mix for a 2 liter. Not anything bigger than that.
Now, what kind of water do you use?
Tap. Just being honest, tap. The first batch that I made, I used the distilled.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can trust your local water source, it's going to get boiled. You're going to boil it anyways to dissolve the honey.
Sorry, Flint.
Yeah, sorry. If you're in Flint, you're not going to be using tap water anyways to do anything.
I'm gonna go, guys. This has been a blast. I hope to continue checking out the podcast. Thank you for having me as a guest. I'll see you guys later.
We're here every other Sunday.
You won't hear the or see the fun parts.
We're here every other Sunday.
All right, so now that I've got that, get it up above the sink. God damn, them soap bubbles are hot. Because I literally just used 8 ounces out of a Keurig machine, which gets into literal boiling. And now to get all the soap bubbles out of the bottle.
Oh my god.
Yeah, sorry, don't answer to him.
Ale is actually pretty easy to make too.
What is?
Ale.
You're talking about like beer ale?
Yeah. Malts, water, hops, and yeast are the main ingredients.
Nice.
And when it comes to ales, the amounts of ingredients you use depends on what kind of ale you're going to get.
Makes sense. Oh, fun fact, when you're rinsing a bottle out, spin it like a tornado. That way you don't get all that suction and bouncing.
Glug, glug, glug.
Yeah, you don't get that if you...
Mm-hmm.
I found that I'm gonna credit the tipsy bartender on Facebook for that.
Ah, yes, he's got very good videos.
Yes. So usually what I'll do is hand on one side, flip it over, spin it. and then it will tornado itself out.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I've got my bottle clean, I'm gonna invert it on top of a towel so I don't get any excess water anywhere. And then I'm gonna take another cleanish bottle. I'm gonna fill it up about halfway.
Mm-hmm. I'm probably gonna want to try making a small batch of mead personally.
That's what I did first. That's why I did 2-liter increments. And Bob Vodou is the one who I got the recipe from in the server.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I've got this about just under half, which is what I'm going to put into the pot, and I'm going to boil it.
Is that the honey draining? Or water?
No, water.
Oh, okay.
Now, what I'll actually do, because I'm going to be using the remainder of this bottle,
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to pour some of the hot water into it to just kind of
Thin it out.
dissolve it a little bit and make it easier to get out.
To thin it out a bit.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
It gets it out of the bottle a hell of a lot easier than just hanging the bottle over the stove, because that honey takes fucking forever to get out of the bottle like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if I've got about this much left, I'll probably fill it up to about right here.
Mm-hmm.
And shake the shit out of it. Now we get to watch water boil.
I'm gonna say, you didn't come prepared beforehand?
No, because we're actually going to have to ice bath it too. So it's a good time to talk about the other stuff that you use to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be using the glass carboy for this because it's a smaller batch. And you really don't need to use a big ass bottle for a small batch. This is only make about a half-gallon mix. So if you're gonna this is my recipe anyways. I will use 1 gallon water total. You will boil half of it to dissolve your honey mix, or to make your honey mix. Sorry. Now, me personally, I started using about 2.5 to 3 pounds of honey per 1 gallon mix. And I will use 1 tablespoon of yeast, which is about what you get out of a single-serve packet of yeast, like Fleischmann's bread yeast. If you just go out and get a single pack of that, that's about what you get. I think, tablespoon. And you will put 1 of those packets into your cooled water. So if you're making a gallon mix, you've got half of the water being heated to dissolve the honey. The other water will go into your container of choice, whether it's a glass carboy, 2-liter bottles, whatever you're going to make. If you're using 2-liter bottles, you're going to have to split this and you're going to have to double it. You're still going to boil half a gallon of water, but instead this will actually be a 2-liter of water, because you're going to have to split it between 4 liters now. 1 liter into one bottle, 1 liter into your other bottle. If you're using glass carboy, you don't have to do that, because you're literally just going to dump all of this into the one bottle. So 2 to 3 pounds of honey, 1 gallon total of water, 1 tablespoon or 1 packet of yeast. if you're using bread yeast, you're going to get more of a beer taste out of it than if you use actual wine yeast, which I actually think I've got a wine yeast around here. I just don't know where it is. Might actually, no, I can't use that for this one because that's a 1 gallon mix. I need to use half a tablespoon of yeast this time. So I got to find my measuring. That's half a teaspoon. How many teaspoons are in a tablespoon?
I believe 4. 4 teaspoons equals a tablespoon.
I'm a man, I just work here.
So I'll need to use 2 teaspoons, or 2 half teaspoons, so 1 teaspoon of yeast, which I just literally just use Fleischmann's bread yeast.
That'll get you a 1/4 tablespoon. It's 4 teaspoons equals a tablespoon.
So I need to use 2 teaspoons total.
For half
Right?
for half a tablespoon, yes. So if that's a half a teaspoon, you'll need 4 of those.
Okay. Let's see what the water is at.
I'm gonna
My
say,
handy
if you put a lid on it, it'll boil quicker.
$202. I'd say that's close enough. Doesn't have to be boiling, but just close. So now I'm going to reduce the heat. Somehow find a way to get
A funnel.
some of this water into my honey.
Don't got a funnel?
I do have a funnel, but I don't want to burn myself at the same time. Dumbass, you know I got a funnel. I just used it on the... Alright, let's go ahead and...
Why don't you use
Hopefully
a...
not burn myself or...
Why not use a ladle?
Because the ladle will actually lose some when I go to pour it into the honey. And I don't want to do that. So now that I've got that in there, now I can loosen this up just a wee little bit and watch the bottle expand and hopefully not blow up in my face.
You gotta be careful having honey and water near each other. And then yeast as well.
There we go. Now that I've got that dissolved, pour it back into the pot to get the rest of it. And a whisk, because you don't want this solidifying on the bottom of the pan.
Mm-hmm. Should have your girlfriend hold the camera for you.
She's not home. She went out driving.
Ah.
She works at Domino's up the street, and her store apparently decided to close early because the manager wasn't feeling good. But this is about what it's going to look like. I've gotten at least a good 99.9% of the honey out now. And it's going to be a little sticky now because I had some drip out on my hand. Just going to whisk it up a wee little bit. Much easier to do after you use the bottle to dissolve it than if you're doing a fresh bottle, which I don't have. Now you're going to let this cool to a balmy 98 degrees. So make room in your freezer, people. or an ice bath, something.
Otherwise, you're going to have a very long wait time.
Yeah. I mean, even now, using that, apparently my ice maker has been broken. Would love to know what she did to this, because I know it wasn't me. There's my other pot holders. I was wondering where those went. Bad enough she has a tendency to put sodas in the fridge and forget about them.
I do the same thing.
I'll put them in there for like a few minutes to get it chilled. She'll leave them in there overnight and people blow up.
Sweet.
No, not sweet.
It is sweet. It's a beautiful sight.
Yeah, that's when I get this.
Mm-hmm.
Soda icicles.
Yeah, then you get to suck on them, see?
I'll give you the suck on.
Ain't gonna be much.
No, you're not wrong. So now that I'm waiting for that to cool down to about 98 degrees, turn the microwave off for whatever reason. She decided to leave that on. We'll see how the mead under the cabinet is settling. See if it's nope, not ready to filter. Not quite yet. This one, the blackberry one is. So we'll go ahead and eat that. This definitely works with more than one person.
Mm-hmm.
Not just a camera angle, but somebody to hold the bottle as I'm filtering.
Bless you.
So I'll use that. Personally, I'll just go out and get some regular number 4 coffee filters.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter brand, doesn't matter style. This just happens to be what first thing I saw on the shelf, so it's what I did. I'll put that into the funnel here, trying to get it to sit as fast as possible. It'll sit a little bit better once it gets wet. That's what she said.
Always.
Yeah, I need something to hold the soda bottle in place, so I'll use a couple cups here. So up a wee bit with that. Just kind of surrounded with heavier stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Moved up out of the kitchen. Sounds like I got something to tell you that shit. Out of the kitchen. There we go. A couple of heavier items have been put around it.
I'm gonna say you want to get it a little wet before you put it in there?
Well, it'll set as it gets wet. I don't want to put water on it. So I'm just going to use the meat itself. There we go. That's better. And I'll have to change the filter out about 2 times per 2 liter. Because it's getting too wet or the sediment will stop the flow.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. But the higher the water level, so to speak, is on the funnel, the faster it'll drain out.
Mm-hmm. Gravity and all that.
Yeah. If you've only got like, I don't know, a tablespoon of water in there, it's not going to. Oops, I want to cut the stove off. How about that? That might be a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done with that now, so I don't need it to be on.
Funny enough, back with NASCAR, speaking of like the whole gravity thing, there was a pit crew that found out that if they raised the barrel that held the gas higher into the air, it basically just like shot the gas into the car far quicker than normal.
What? Get your ass out of my kitchen. Girlfriend's German Shepherd. He's a bit of a pain.
Mm-hmm. He's back in the kitchen.
Tattletale.
Trying to get in the trash. I don't know why, because there ain't nothing in there for him. Take Jen's chew toy and go.
But food, Dad. You're in the kitchen. That means food.
Nothing for you.
But as like food.
Yeah, it's back on the topic of how much yeast and stuff to use. So if you're doing a 2-liter mix, how about I get myself into the camera here? There we go. Look at my beautiful face.
I think the ladies prefer the dog. I said I think the ladies would prefer the pupper. I'm just saying, pupper's cute.
I mean, you're not wrong, but the pupper's not going to show you how to make alcohol.
I mean, you don't know.
Could be a cool.
Do you not remember Sesame Street?
I don't remember the episode of a dog making alcohol, though.
Yeah, I don't remember that one either. I'm sure.
I mean, apparently dogs are.
I'm out of his trash can, but
I remember very strongly a dog was sitting there using kitchen knife and fork to eat a steak.
Speaking of steak, I got one in there I need to eat.
Steak sounds good right now.
It really does. It's been a while since I've had a good steak.
I still need to.
We digress. We need to get back on topic of ingredients and measurements.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to need, for a 2-liter, 2 liters of water.
2 liters of water?
Half a tablespoon of yeast, or 4 halves.
4 teaspoons, or 2 teaspoons,
or 4 half teaspoons, because my ass doesn't know where I've got my teaspoon measurement at, because it's fucking disappeared. I know where my tablespoon one is. It's in the sugar for my tea mix that I'll make in the mornings. And let's see. Okay, no, that's just that glue they use. I got distracted by glue on my 2-liter. So 2 liters of water, 2 teaspoons of yeast, about 1 to 2 pounds of honey. Again, the honey doesn't matter where you get it from. The yeast does not matter if it's bread or actual wine yeast. Wine yeast will get you the actual wine taste out of it. Bread yeast will get you kind of a beery hops taste to it.
And don't you mean 1 liter of water?
No, it's going to be 2 liters. But 1 liter will get heated to dissolve the honey. The other liter will remain in the bottle to pour the yeast into once you have the honey at 98 degrees.
I see.
Because you don't want your honey over a certain temperature, because it's going to kill the yeast as soon as you put it in. So the cooler the honey mix, the honey water, the better you're going to be. The hotter the honey mix, the honey water that you put in, the more likely you're going to kill your yeast. Now, I don't think I've got any raisins because I'm pretty sure I used the last 2 little single boxes on that last batch that I just racked out. But I would generally use about a handful, which I think is basically what those little boxes are, is a handful, 1 serving per bottle for a 1 gallon. For the 2 liters, you'll pretty much split that half and half, or you can just dump in the whole thing. It really doesn't matter too much. Just going to give the yeast something more to eat for longer. Now, after you've mixed this in and you're ready to let it just set and ferment, you're going to make sure that you've got it in a dark place that gets very little to no sunshine, so that you don't risk skunking it, so you don't kill it. Because direct light, bad for yeast. Which remind me of that. Let's go ahead and put the yeast back up in the cupboard until I'm ready for it. It's going to take a while for that honey water to cool off. Why is this? Yeah, filtering takes a long time. It's not like a coffee machine where you're just done immediately. So you can either go out and get an airlock chamber, which I'll try to find all of these things and post them to the Home channel, or they might actually be in already. I know myself and Bob O'Du, we've posted quite a bit about our meat making. I don't know if it's pinned or anything, but I know on Amazon they sell 1 gallon mead mixes, wine kit.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll get the siphon tube, that little right angle pipe that you saw me use, that was in there. This white funnel that I'm using was in it. The obviously the glass jar was in it. This rubber stopper and plastic, the 3 plastic pieces. You've got the cap, which has got holes in it for the CO2 to come out. Then you've got the actual airlock chamber, which will just float and bob in there. And then you've got the actual assembled airlock.
I've heard it called a burper.
That is a term too. I call it airlock because it locks the air in there.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps the gnats and shit from getting in there. They'll get into the water, but obviously they won't be able to get up into the actual the wine mix.
Mm-hmm.
I think this filter's about had its run, which would be about right because I've got about 1 liter mixed out of this now. So I'll have to go and somehow find a way to transfer this over to another filter. Which is why I bought a 100 count filter. You're not going to be using just 1 per bottle. You're going to be using multiple.
Mm-hmm.
This is the part where an extra set of hands will come in handy too. Because now you're just going to try to not spill as you're transferring it over to a new filter. Because obviously the speed of this is going to suck.
seem to handle it pretty good to me.
I've had practice. And it worked a lot easier than I thought it was going to. I thought I was going to have trouble.
So how many batches would you say you've made so far?
Let's see, I started brewing about this time last year-ish. And I'm probably made... The biggest batch I made was probably close to 3 gallons. I had my glass carboy and about 5 2-liters. And pretty much 2 2-liters will make a gallon. So 2, 4, 6, about 6.5 gallons is the biggest one. I know that wasn't the question. I'm getting there. And then I've made probably about 3 or 4 more smaller batches. And I'd say the first batch I made was, I think, about was probably 2 gallons. So 2 gallons, 5.5 gallons. No, sorry, shit, that was 1 gallon. 2, 4, 7.5. I'd probably say about 12 gallons is what I've made. Just rough ballpark over the last year.
Now, if I may ask, why is it that you keep why is it that you keep the mead in a dark area while it's fermenting?
Because light will kill the yeast.
Ah, okay.
That's a general fact about yeast. Light kills it. So that's why you keep even unopened yeast bottles or packets in a dark place. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm now about 1 liter down in my filtering of my second. I'm going to say this is about half a blackberry mix. Because the other one was actually a darker red, like you'd find in like a Chardonnay. I'm sorry, no, Chardonnay's a white one. It almost looked like a red one. But I didn't muddle the
blackberries.
Yeah, I just dropped them in like I do the raisins.
If you're going to muddle them, I highly recommend getting a filter bag to put them in.
What I'm using right now, coffee filters.
Well, no, I'm just saying to put the muddled blackberries in while it's fermenting. Use a filter bag.
Oh,
because they're like berries.
A tea bag.
Yeah, to turn it into like a tea bag.
The only problem that would contain is the small ass opening of said bottle.
Yeah.
That would be the one problem with that, is the fact that the mouths of these are not very big.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the last batch that I did, second to last, the 5.5 gallon one, I actually did I did half of it as a straight blackberry, just dropping the blackberries into the bottles. But I also added a gallon mix of sweet tea. Just like using this stuff, the Louisiana gallon sweet tea pouches, like the ones that specifically make a gallon.
Mm-hmm.
And it came out decent. I'm not going to say I did anything wrong. I'm also not going to say I did everything right. It was an experiment.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to see how it transferred the flavor of the sweet tea, and to be honest, I really didn't taste the sweet tea.
Not enough, or
Uh,
not long
I
enough?
think the alcohol overpowered. Just being honest, I'm pretty sure this stuff can get, if you do it right, it can get upwards of 15 to 23% alcohol by volume.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a very high content, which is about 3 to 4 times higher than any standard beer out there.
Mm-hmm. Most beer out there are at most like 12%.
The highest I had seen was like 5 to 8.
Oh, I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of like malt liquors.
Now, obviously, this isn't going to be as good as your homemade moonshine.
That
to be able to make moonshine, so
that you need a very special setup for.
yeah, and not everybody's going to have that. Everybody should have 2 liters, filters, bread.
You went mute. Yeah, we can't hear you. For some reason, it's not picking up your mic.
He done broke it.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
I thought about it, I was like, no, we cannot.
So that means you can hear me.
I thought about it. I thought about being like, no. Yeah, you ain't getting that on me this time.
Damn. What was the last thing you heard me say?
I think you were talking about the bottles. Oh yeah, not everyone's gonna have a distillery, but it's easy for people to get a hold of like 2 liters and whatnot.
Yeah, the 2 liters, the yeast, the honey. The most expensive thing is going to be that honey. That 5-pound bottle usually costs me like $25 at the store.
Mm-hmm.
But that $25 will get you at least 2, maybe 3 gallons if you do it right. Versus going to the liquor store and buying a bottle of mead, which is on average $20 to $22 per bottle. And that's going to get you 1 liter at the most.
How much is the wine yeast?
I don't know. Like I said, I use bread yeast. And I think, like I showed you, I've got this 4-ounce bottle of glycerin we use.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that costs, I'd say no more than $3, $4 tops at the grocery store.
So if you're okay with a bit more hoppy or beer-like taste.
Yeah. But the wine yeast, I really wish I could remember how much I found it on Amazon for. Just do a quick Amazon search and you'll just look up wine yeast and you'll see prices and sizes of containers for that. And usually I'll have some music playing in the background while I'm doing this, but obviously doing the recording I'm not going to be.
Yeah, I don't want to. I mean, I could put DMC.
Music.
I could put on some non DMCA free music.
Oh no, I'm talking about on my side. While I'm brewing, I'll usually have something going on in the background, TV or music or something. Until I'm starting to hurt from too much talking now. The annoying part The slow drip.
Just gonna have some nice lo-fi for those listening in.
What, the music?
Mm-hmm. It's probably gonna cause me to fall asleep. I really do need to go to bed soon, though.
Well, I've got I'll show you the speaker I use. I got it from work when I worked there.
Nice Milwaukee.
Yes.
Not sponsored.
Nope, not at all. You want to know how much I paid for that?
Nothing.
Too much.
Max of $20.
Sounds about right.
Employee sale. They have one once a year.
Yeah, I use a one of those big ass sound core. Oh my god, that thing has some bass to it. That thing is loud.
This gets pretty loud. Just on a 3 or a 4 is the max that I can put it, because I don't want to blast out the entire complex. I mean, this thing's meant for like construction sites.
So, looking up on Amazon, they have packs of 5 champagne yeast or wine cider mead for $8.
And I'm assuming that's going to be like the Fleischmann bread yeast packet sizes.
Yeah, but it's wine yeast. They also have one that's a 10-pack for $10.
I actually remember seeing a 4 or 5 ounce bottle one time, and I thought about getting that one, but I got to get through this 4 ounce bottle of Fleischmann's first.
Amazon has a craft a brew mead making kit, reusable make your own mead kit, yields 1 gallon.
Yeah, that's probably. Does it have like a honeybee on it or something?
Yeah, for $50.
Yeah, that's the kit that I got.
Yeah.
And it'll come with the bottle, the tube, the little 90-degree tube that I have, the glass bottle, the airlock, the Harper airlock. It'll also come with a standard mead making kit minus the honey. Like it'll have the I think it's 3 things of yeast food, like the protein that you'll use. It'll have maybe 1 or 2 packets of wine yeast.
Oh, this is interesting.
What's your
They have a Shine Still alcohol distiller home brewing distillery kit, 5-gallon with stainless pot and thumper keg water pump. Copper coil for DIY whiskey, brandy, vodka, wine making, extracting essential oils.
And how much is that going for?
With stainless thumper, $105. Which is actually... yeah.
Alright, so while I'm... Where'd you get, dumbass? I dropped the honey bottle on the dog. You can check the honey water. See what it's at. Still feels nice and warm, so I doubt it's going to be what I do for that.
Use your temperature.
Well, I'm grabbing right now.
I will say I would like to learn. I would like to make learn how to make moonshine and whatnot.
It's in about 116. About halfway there.
Gotta plug in my headphones.
The site that that I got my recipe kits from was the Michigan Brew Supply. I got the yeast, and I think it was German Pitzler.
If y'all excuse me just a second, I need to go use the little Mando's room.
Mm-hmm. I got a root beer kit for $35. I always wanted to learn how to make, like, you remember the old root beer game Tappers?
Tappers.
It was an old arcade style, fill up beer, send them down for the guests.
Oh, yeah.
Almost like a Game & Watch kind of style.
Yeah.
I always wanted to make a root beer that was like, this is what Tappers would be. This is the Tappers root beer from the game kind of thing. Granted, the original Tappers was actual beer because there was a big Budweiser logo in the background. But then when it went to be on console, they took all alcohol references and said, yeah, this is just root beer. They just darkened the pixels a bit and made it, yeah, that's root beer.
I feel a little now.
Gonna have to swap out again?
Yeah, I think so. It's not going very. It only really did this when I had a lot of sediment going down into it, but there's very little in it right now.
Mm-hmm. Will he make it? Will he make it? And he's spilling.
Yeah, but it's going into a cup. Thank you very much.
Oh, nice. Huzzah. Protect, attack, but most protect, attack, but most importantly, I must snap.
Yes. Protect, attack, take naps.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Grogu cod just a wee bit.
I was gonna say, you want to try that now? Give a taste test? Not quite there yet?
No, this batch is definitely done. This is one that I had from the last batch that I made. Sorry, 2 batches ago.
Wow, that's
Can't
a
do
lot.
the last batch because that was the one that I just put under there.
How often do you brew up a batch? Like every week, every other week?
Actually about monthly. About 1 to 2 months I'll do a brew.
Hey, welcome in.
Hola,
No? If you're wishing to join us and talk, you'll have to switch over to push to talk. Otherwise...
You almost said push to talk, didn't you?
No. Otherwise, there is the typing channel.
Or be lazy like me and just go through the Xbox so you don't have to.
That's perfectly fine
Perfectly
too.
fine too.
We're in the home brewing section of the podcast today, so we're watching me
do a live
brew.
demonstration.
Yeah, pretty much. And for reference, this is how much we've got left out of this 2-liter now. Probably about 1/3 of a liter, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
So we're almost done with the filtering. This is definitely the lengthy side of the process. This is my version of slow drip.
What is a fun tea to steep? Kefir also has great benefits and can taste like beer. Interesting.
Oh no, this is me. This is honey wine that I'm making.
Mm-hmm.
Potent stuff too. I mean, not anywhere near potent like Everclear, but more potent than your standard beer too. Sorry, I ain't making rocket fuel.
Oh, that's my favorite.
I can neither confirm nor deny that that would be me.
Whether you drink it or brew it.
Yes.
Just yes.
I would. Can make torpedo juice.
I dare ask, what is torpedo juice?
So torpedo juice, for those who don't know, comes from like World War II, Vietnam, patrol boats. The like PT-109, John F. Kennedy's boat that he was on. They went in. They were bored, and they wanted to have a nice little kicker for the day. They would take some of the fuel from torpedoes. They would filter it through bread and get high concentrate of alcohol, and they would drink it.
So this is where Everclear comes from.
More or less. My boon, but sadly no one has it because people can't get good.
Because people use it for hand cleaner.
You want to know the funny thing about C4?
Ooh,
It's fun, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Vietnam War. Yeah, it's a good thing it's really stable because people basically treated it like kind of like chewing gum and got high off of it.
Woo.
Mm-hmm. Let that one sink in.
People imply that the
Serious putty, yes.
Implies the creation of serious putty.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yep. Also known as C4 and also known as serious putty. That's exactly it. Out on
I see the messages coming in. I just can't see them because I'm on my phone, not the PC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll read them off because they're not on screen as well. Just in case, pictures and whatnot that shouldn't be shown.
And I see a lot of Cantina chat going on too.
Hmm.
So I can't really tell what's podcast and what's server.
Crazy putty is a certain baking good floating in diesel for about a week. Oh no.
Let's make sure we get that part out of the podcast.
Well, I mean, it doesn't specify.
I mean, people can imply, and I'd rather not have that.
All it says is a certain baking good. It doesn't specify what that is. Not to mention with the cost of diesel, would you really want to do that?
Depends on how much they're making.
Once again, with the cost...
They can do a gallon. Karan, I need to ask, what the fuck is that on your profile picture? Is that a dog?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a pug.
That's what I was thinking.
It's a little pug going...
Take my nose. I need to pick my nose.
Pug's face is what my brain cells look like.
Not quite sure, but I think I got some honey right here on my arm. It's a wee bit sticky.
Tasty.
Oh, that ain't honey.
Yeah, sorry, I don't shoot on my arm. I shoot on your
I
mom.
waited for is happening, so I will make my leave. Alrighty. Alright, Arandad. Jateka.
Like 15%. Nice.
15% on car insurance. Oh.
Other guy fell. What was the part he was waiting for?
Mm-hmm. He didn't specify.
So the part that he was waiting for isn't, or it was happening?
The thing they were waiting for is happening, so they will be leaving.
Oh, something outside of the podcast then.
Mm-hmm.
Would be my guess.
Ooh.
And a wee bit of pressure now to see if that it's helping you a little bit.
Squeezing it.
Yeah.
Slapping it.
I mean, it's still honey, so it's still got a bit of viscosity to it.
Oh yeah. Most definitely.
That stuff tastes so good.
Honey or mead?
Yes.
Honey. Definitely the honey.
Yes. So the whole point of the racking process is to make sure you don't get all of the sediment into your new bottle,
Mm-hmm.
because that means the less you filter, if you even want to filter. I do it because it's going to make it easier on drinking, because you don't have that much shit to worry
Drink.
about getting.
You don't have to worry about drinking so much shit.
Because, for example, I've got this bottle in the fridge, and you can see it's got sediment down in the bottom. So this is something that never got filtered. Girlfriend just took it out of the cupboard and put it in the fridge.
Tasty.
Yeah, I mean it's still tasty. Just gotta be careful when you get down to that last little bit.
Yeah, you could just siphon it out. Still.
Yeah, but when you go to siphon, you're still gonna get a little bit of that sediment to go with it.
Gotta milk the bag.
You got what?
Milk the bag.
Yeah.
Remember, gentle.
I mean, you see what it's. I got nipples, Greg. Can you milk me?
Oh, come here, pretty boy.
Got a purty mouth.
It puts the meat on its skin. Or it gets the yeast again. I said it puts the meat on its skin, or it gets the yeast again. Getting so close to the bottom now, boys. This is all y'all left.
Squishy, what are you doing?
Check the freezer again. You know what this is doing. $105. Plus about 11 degrees from the last time I checked. So at least this process is helping with something. It's killing time from the batch that I'm brewing.
Mm-hmm. If it wasn't for the fact that you'd be doing this part, I'd say I almost wish you were the one recording.
Why you say that?
So I could dip and go to bed.
Just got about another 10 degrees left on that. And I'll be able to rack it into the fermenting bottle.
Might want to need another filter.
Not with the amount that I've got left here, because literally,
oh yeah,
it's all in the filter now.
Hmm.
Now, the good thing is the fermenting bottle is clean. And the apparent ambient temperature in my kitchen is 65.5 degrees. That's cold.
Mm-hmm.
It's warm.
When you're used to 100 plus right now, that's cold. I'll take that over what we're getting in Texas right now, and that's someone who, and I'm someone who enjoys the heat.
Oh, I don't mind the heat.
Yeah, 70 degrees is pushing it for me.
For heat or cold?
Heat. I'm a polar bear. I need cold. I wear shorts in the wintertime. No matter
Oh, you're one of
You're
those.
fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You're one of those that'll go out in shorts and flip-flops.
Crocs.
Fuck that shit.
You want to hear something funny about Crocs?
They were meant to be prison shoes.
I mean, that's news
They
to
were
me.
used in the film Idiocracy, and that's where they got their big.
There you go. Everyone in Idiocracy, aside from the main kid, the two people from the past, were wearing Crocs.
Because they know what's up.
You know what their decision to make them was? Because this is the future. These were the look they were looking for a future of idiots.
And they got it right.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so hopefully I just got as much filtered out of that as I could. I've got no idea where that fucking towel went that I was using. Oh, I put it back in the drawer. So now I'll put this back in the cupboard, let it set, and hopefully there's no sediment down at the bottom, or at least very fucking little, because there ain't shit right now.
I'm gonna say, doesn't it still need to ferment?
No,
a bit more?
that was the one that I was filtering. That had nothing to do with fermenting. The one that I'm fermenting is in the freezer, cooling off, which is going to be going into this bottle.
You gonna use the siphon?
Probably. At least for the first little bit of it.
Nice handles.
So what you doing, Haran?
What?
I hear clicky clacks from your end.
Yeah. I play Fortnite.
I'm playing Fortnite. Is that
No, I hate Fortnite. No, I'm just
PUBG,
Fallout.
PUBG, far superior.
Destiny.
Destiny don't let me play, so meh.
Not my fault.
I didn't say it was.
Not my fault either.
I just mean, well, I mean, I couldn't join you anyways because I don't have any other DLC.
Well, I mean, you can do the base game, and I can drag you into other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do the fun part.
You want to turn the camera?
No. Not right here. Yep. So we're gonna take.
I say that was I say that is not a good angle. Welcome back, Dirch.
There we go.
Yeah, that works.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going siphoned into the hose a wee little bit. Let gravity do its work. Hopefully. Gravity is going the wrong fucking direction. That means I did not get enough into the tube. Honey water. God damn it, it did it again.
It's when you went to pick it up.
Yeah. Try this another way here. Yummy.
Galactic Republic.
There we go. Got it.
Huzzah!
And this should equal out to just about 1 liter. If I did it right. If not, oh well. Just means I'll have less clear water going in.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, time for the plug zapper.
Okay, seriously, what are you playing, Haran?
I've been bouncing around from
One thing to another.
Generation 0 to Fallout. Now I'm the newer Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Wait, that's still got a community?
Yeah.
I just play the co-op Republic. That's all I do.
I'll say this: it was better than than Battlefield 1 because it at least had a story.
What? Battlefield 1 was beautiful. That was one of my favorite ones.
No, I'm talking about the remake.
I gotta say, are you talking Battlefront or Battlefield?
Yeah.
Star Wars Battlefront.
You said Battlefield, that's why I got
Oh,
it.
sorry.
Yeah.
Battlefront.
Yeah, that Battlefront, new Battlefront 1 sucked. But
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Alki. Oh no, correction, Wino.
that literally just honey water. That's all that is. Alright, so can't
As
really
long as
see.
it's not Bruno, you're good to go.
No. Camera turn around. There, whoops. There we go. So you can see I've got just over a liter of water in there because of the honey. So now what I'm going to do is minimize that message from Haran just now. Put the camera back around. And y'all can still see the bottle good. Get a clean bottle out of my box. I went and bought a, I don't know, like, steel funnel kit and wire cleaning kit for the mead making because I didn't actually have funnels when I started doing this. So what did we say? 4 half teaspoons for 2 teaspoons. So we got 1, 2.
Don't you have to put those in water first to activate? Before pouring them in?
Water is about to go in anyways. And technically it is in water right now, because it's in honey water.
Whenever I see people make it, they always have like a small little container of water that they put that in and then swirl it around a bit and then pour it in.
Yeah. Tomato. So usually what you'll want to do is hold your hand onto the bottle and bring the water up to just above your pinky. Or at least that's where I will generally fill it too.
Mm-hmm.
And my phone is at 5%, but luckily we're finishing the process right now. So then I'll put the top on it just for a little bit, just to
mix it
up at least a little bit. Then I will grab the punching bag balloon, stretch the top over it.
How big has one of those gotten?
Then I'm going to push as much air out as I can, because air bad.
Mm-hmm.
And there you go. Now I'm going to go put this into the laundry area. Watch out, dum-dum. Don't get stepped on. Hi, silly puppy. And I'll turn on my little work light underneath the shelf, because that is not direct light. And oops, that's my pretty face. Now I've got a half gallon of mead brewing. Give or take. And that's going to stay there for about a month is how long I'll brew for. Close up the laundry area now. I mean, you can tell it's fucking dark in there.
Mm-hmm.
You can barely see anything. And if I cut the hallway light on, I'll see where. Okay, so you can see it's actually still hitting the mead. So this light bulb is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like I'm going to be without light, because I've got that little Milwaukee shop light in there with it. And now to put this light bulb where I will see it and remember it, right up here next to Grogu. And that's how you make mead, people.
Fairly simple. And you're just
simple, but it takes time.
Yeah, and you're just leaving that as just plain honey mead. You're not doing anything to it special.
Yeah, probably. I ain't got the money to go out and get any blackberries or anything right now.
Okay. Only issue I have is I don't know of a dark place to put it. If I was to do that.
Over to the PC now.
Kind of sounds like my first date.
What, switching back to the PC?
No, not knowing where to put it.
Oh. Alright, there we go. Now I'm back on the PC.
I mean, just too many options.
I mean, a woman has 10 holes, but she can only get pregnant in one. Yeah, I see you doing the math. I broke Zell.
I count 8.
I mean, unless you count the 4 individuals that have a naturally occurring cloaca.
What?
Humans can have a cloaca where, like, basically, like, the lining between the vagina and the ass is, like, not there. Like, the separating tissue, so it's all just one big cavern.
Mm-hmm.
So you mean like the woman's version of a tank?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, theoretically, it could happen with dudes, too. I'm not 100% sure.
That'd be weird.
Yeah, I only count 8 holes. I'm trying to figure out where you get the 2 extra.
Ears?
No, I counted those.
I got 9.
Where you get 9?
Nostrils, eyes, ears.
Eyes aren't holes.
You can make them holes. Oh god.
The mouth. The obvious one where you put it, and then the back door.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god.
Then if you cut her, there's your 10th.
If you what?
If you cut a bitch. Oh, I know this part's coming out of the podcast.
All right, you're not we're not bed bugs.
Leo, no, I'm not gonna throw the bone. Look at me with the puppy dog eyes all you fucking want. I don't care, Kutika. About to sit back and eat this burger that I've had sitting out for 3 hours.
Yeah, I think should wrap this up so that I can go eat and then get to bed because I got to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So
yeah, you're running on about 5 hours of sleep now, Vaughn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm used
to running on like 2.
Dude.
Yeah.
Right, so let me go back into the podcast section and see what our next topic will be. Alright, so food's complete, brewing's complete, self-defense is complete. All we've got is medical, hand-to-hand, and the tracheurs.
I think we kind of covered hand-to-hand for a bit there with self-defense.
I'll consider that.
We can go more in depth because I mean, as far as that went, I just gave a quick of like, here's the 3 fighting styles that I recommend learning.
Oh, so out of that, bro, fuck you, go.
I just realized what the hand-to-hand picture you used was.
The boxing frog, yeah.
The boxing Pepe.
So let's see. Medical had 6, hand-to-hand had 6, and tracheurs had 5. So
we can just bundle them all together. Or do you want to give a dedicated one to tracheurs?
Dedicated to tracheur and probably dedicated to medical too.
Well, I mean, the medical can easily go in with hand-to-hand because could easily talk about, like, if you take this kind of damage from a punch, this is how you want to treat it.
Alright, that'll work for me.
Alrighty.
Let me edit this and,
Oh, fuck you, Grievous. Go away, go away, go away, go away. Go away!
Let's get back to here. With that being said, thank y'all for joining in, listening in, watching, if that's the case.
No.
We enjoy doing this, having fun, kicking around, and just hanging out, giving out the information that we have. Once again, nothing we have said in this is legal advice. Do with the info as you wish, but do not say that we told you to do so.
Because we did not.
Nope. We gave advice. That's not legal advice. We spoke from personal knowledge and experience and can easily be wrong, happily be corrected if wrong. Join us on Facebook, Discord, catch our TikToks, Instagram. Everywhere you find,
All the fun little social medias.
yeah, everywhere you can find the Way of the Mandalorian religious movement. We're slowly making our way to being recognized on the broader scale, not just in small locations here and there. The goal is getting closer. Check out the link tree in the description on Spotify below. Next, it'll be 2 weeks for the next podcast. Thank you for joining us. I am Zelnamore, Ebikruni. This is the way.
I have been Cadus. Karale Kabur, Ibikruni. This is the way.
I'm Haranian Kidid. Ibikuni.